Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome. We are live from Daytona for the iRacing Team Endurance Series, powered by Champion Motorsports here on Apex Racing TV. We've got qualifying not long of getting away, and then after that, 3 hours of endurance racing around Daytonas with the new LMDH, BMW, LMP2s, and of course, the iconic GT3s. I am Tim Cox with Sam Fitzpatrick. We've got John Robertson in the virtual production trailer. Sam, welcome along. The classic quintessential endurance circuit in North America is Daytona. I think we're in for a bit of a wild one, aren't we?
Yeah, and the traditional start of a lot of championships as well, because we have the Daytona 500 and we have the Daytona 24 Hours as well. And so very fitting that this is the opening round of this 6-round championship. And I'm really looking forward to it. We've got a very healthy field, approximately 40 cars signing up for this championship, and decent numbers in all 3 of the classes. So yeah, this is going to be a fairly intense race, Tim, because 3-hour races, it's an endurance event, but it's and you know how I don't particularly like super long bits. 3 hours is a nice length because you've got a sprint. There's no hanging about. It does matter track position. It does matter about qualifying, and so it's going to be really nothing held back for the entire 180 minutes.
And traffic management as well, such a crucial part. A little bit easier around Daytona due to that, the long banking section, and there's not too many corners, not too many places for yourself to get held up behind a GT3, say, or having one of the prototypes, meddling in a battle that you're having in GT3, and start splitting you up and such like. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see who drivers who can work the traffic to their advantage. It's like a bit of a tactical game of chess coming through the field, so it's going to be a fascinating one. Drivers have got 3 laps, close qualifying, so they've got the track to themselves, 15 minutes in which to complete them. Drivers on their out laps. I'll tell you what, I'm going to drag in series organizer David Anderson for a bit of a chat. David, welcome along to the commentary booth. Well, tell us about your fantastic series. Well, there we go.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. I was going to say, it's so good, he's rendered speechless by it. But there you are, David. Great to have you. Yeah, tell us more about the iRacing Team Endurance Series and, well, just how fantastic it is and so well supported.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me, guys. And first and foremost, really excited to be back with Apex for the 2nd year of this series. This is actually the 3rd year for the series itself, so we must be doing something right if we've able to keep it going for 3 years. So, yeah, a little bit about it for you guys. It's Champion Motorsports. We're one of the largest sim racing communities probably on the planet. We have about 3,000 members, and we race really everything from iRacing to R Factor 2 to consoles, and just a whole lot of different stuff. And this series is kind of our flagship series that we use to just really show off the best of CMS, and it's also kind of a marketing thing that we do as well. And just super excited to have multi-class racing loosely based on WEC for the 3rd year in a row. Should be a really fun season.
And of the tracks, obviously, we've got Daytona, Fuji, Le Mans, Motegi, Spa, and Watkins coming up this season. Which one are you personally looking forward to the most?
I think I'm looking forward to the ones that we haven't. The Fuji and Motegi are the ones that I'm really looking forward to seeing us do. We always try to add, a couple of new tracks per season. Like last year, for instance, we did Phillip Island, which was really fun and wild. And while at the same time keeping some of the classics like Daytona and Spa that are always on the schedule. But I think I'm looking forward to Fuji.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, myself, Motegi, I've never personally commentated on an endurance race around there. So for myself, that's one I'm really, really looking forward to. And I think, like you say, some different tracks just to keep the drivers on their toes and see how they get on with it. It's going to be interesting. But I mean, obviously, we were speaking about, it's going to be crucial qualifying. Although it's an endurance race, still, in relatively short terms at 3 hours. Who are you sort of picking out for your favourites this season in each of the classes?
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to ignore so the LMDH class is new for us, obviously, with that being a new car on iRacing. But I think that Satellite Racing is sort of has to be my default there. They are the 2-time defending series champions in the LMP2 class, and they've moved up to the LMDH category. So I really would be watching out for them. In the LMP2 class, that one is got a lot of really, really experienced teams. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Longhorn Racing 2 is going to be tough to beat in that series. Just 2 drivers in that car that are hard to beat. And then in the GT3s, boy, that could be just about anybody. I kind of like the Tempest SimSport team, and maybe we call them TPRT. It's a 2Pi racing team. I think those are the 2 to really watch. But there'll be a ton of great battles in GT3, of course.
Well, you just mentioned about 2Pi. Obviously, their LMDH outfit have just gone quickest in LMDH. So there you go. Although not quite the GT3 one, but their sister team doing well there. Well, David, thanks very much for joining us. Really appreciate your time, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you a bit later on in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. If I don't talk to you guys in the race today, no big deal. If we do, great. And here to help and support you, and want to thank you for everything. And I'm sure we'll definitely be talking throughout the season.
Most certainly. That series organizer, David Anderson there. Well, Sam, I will tell you what, David spoke about, close times and, being really competitive in a couple of the, especially in GT3. I mean, LMDH right now, just look at how close the times are, not tenths of a second, hundredths of a second separating our teams.
Yep, that's what we want to see. Currently, Blake Reynolds for Penguin RC Simulation a little bit clear of the rest, but yeah, behind that, you got another quarter second covering pretty much the entire field. So we've got 11 cars out there. Well, actually, hopefully 13 cars, 12 cars. Apologies, I'll count it up eventually. 12 cars will hopefully be taking the grid, and yeah, they all seem very evenly matched with one another. Currently, Tempest SimSports with Quiros currently at the top of the LMP2s, and RD SimSport 4 leading the way with Steve Mello, the Frenchman, leading that one out. Good to see, yeah, such a variation. We've got mainly Americans, a few Canadians, but some Europeans as well, representing our side of the pond as well, Tim. So real international championship this.
A really interesting one you mentioned about RD SimSport 4, controversially driving the BMW, which at the moment in iRacing and where the BOP is working out, not the strongest car. So for them to be 3 tenths clear of everyone in GT3 in a inverted comma, yeah, air quotes, not OP car right now in GT3, I think that's a real stamp of authority that they've put out there.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly as well, I think it was helped out by the Daytona BAP as well. So it's not as though it's particularly quick here at Daytona. I think it needed help in that race-specific BAP earlier on in the year, around the 24 hours, to get it even with the other cars. So yeah, it's probably maybe not the fastest car out there, but they are representing it very well. So Obsidian Racing Future managed to move up into 2nd position overall. That's a very strong time for them. And yeah, the drivers still pounding around those laps. Got about half the drivers back in the pits at the moment. And also Tempest Simsport 101 just moving up to 2nd place in the GT3s.
Yeah, they've just displaced Dogbear Black, who had initially just gone 2nd. So that changing around, and great to see top of GT3, 4 different manufacturers covering that. We've got the lone Ferrari, which is being driven by Dogbear Black's Shane Norton. He's undertaking qualifying for them, and then of course it's going to be interesting to see how they get on. For that's the perennial BMWs, Lamborghinis and Audis that we're so used to seeing so much of here in iRacing in the GT3 category. But halfway through qualifying and just having a bit of a look at things, there's still a few cars to undertake qualifying. So the organisation and Sim Republic SR2, they're yet to take to the track in LMDH and GT3 respectively, so they're leaving it very, very late. We've got Flynn Lion, they are just about to come onto their 2nd flying lap. Longhorn Racing about to close out their final lap with Penguin Simulation, and you see on the screens right now, they're just going around. And is there any improvement from them? No, there's not, because they've completed their laps already. So that's them done and dusted.
I will say, this is ever so smart from the drivers who are leaving it late to set their lap time, as 2Pay Racing Team put in an improvement, I believe, because they get a lot of screen time. Do it, guys. They're limited to 3 laps. Go out at the end of the session. I don't think there's really any disadvantage in terms of the track changing. It's a lone session, so there's not going to be much change. And yeah, get your sponsors up on stream. And yeah, got 5 minutes of the few. Okay, maybe it wasn't best for Sim HQ to be shown on stream in that case. But yeah, they're back to the pits. I think that's all their laps done. I think it's just maybe this car, the RD Sim Sport 2, Peter Sikdar. And then also Mike Sachs, which is a fantastic name for Flying Lion. They are in 34th position right now.
It's a fantastic name, Mike Sachs.
And the team name as well, Flying Lion.
What a great
really
name.
Good effort. Great effort, guys.
It is. Just one of the things I do love about iRacing, some of the team names you see, absolutely. Yeah, there's a couple in there, crafty people who try and catch you out with their team names. I remember commentating on one called, I've commentated on a few times, that you have to be really careful with it. Hugh, that's in the man's name, and then their 2nd word in their team name is Jas, J-A-S-S. So yes, you have to be very careful with that one.
I've driven against them. I've lost championships to that team as well.
Have you?
Yeah, many years ago, good times. RD Simsport, can they push up any further? This is their last lap, and it did not look like it was an improvement for them. Mike Sachs, he does improve up to 30th place overall, 12th in class, and well, that's an excellent effort there from their Flying Line.
And they are. Oh no, apologies. I missed out marginally above average Sim Racing, who are top qualifiers of the Porsches in GT3s. Not the best showing from Porsche here right now. They're currently lying 9th, 12th, and 15th in class of the 3 Porsches that we've got running in GT3. There's 2Pay Racing's Angel Ledesma still out on track and still just getting in those lap times. And to be fair, rather than just sitting there, and other than, you know, a few drivers might be heading off for a quick comfort break before getting into the race, yeah, it's a great way to just keep your reactions sharp, just understand that the track's evolving, you know, what's happening out there, and finding the limits so you know where they are come green flag.
It's always a something that we see when it comes to the heat format as well, where drivers either use the warm-up session that we often put in between maybe 2 races in the evening, whether they use that to get a little bit of practice, maybe practice some starts, or whether they decide to just rest. Personally, as someone who doesn't do a whole lot of driving these days, I before a 3-hour race, the last thing I want to be doing is driving. That's my block of driving for that time period, and I'm wanting to rest, maybe get a drink, and yeah, prepare that way. But these guys, yeah, they just want to absolutely rattle in as many corners as they can.
And for me, we're just seeing Ledesma come out of what is turn 7 there. For me, that's always a bit of a tricky corner, Sam, because there's a nasty bump on the inside. It feels like you should be able to get on the power a lot sooner than what you actually can, and it's always a bit tricky into there. And it's normally a incident point on the track, you know, where you see the largest amounts of incidents.
I recently did a anyone who watches our new show, the late Apex. I put together 24 reasons why I dislike the 24 Hours of Daytona, and that, I think that corner represented 2 of the reasons. That's how skeptical I'm of it, Tim. Partially because of the yellow flag that often appears in races, where you can go through there, and there's like a glitch in iRacing. Where the yellow flag appears, and it's just really, really annoying. But you're also right there, it's a very tricky corner, and I've never really figured out exactly how you're meant to take it. Are you meant to go wide there? Are you meant to go tight? And then randomly you're going to have the tyres spinning up as you're turning left onto the banking. Yeah, it's not easy whatsoever, and it's an important corner as well, because it really decides your speed for the next 700 meters of flat out section.
Yeah, just getting into the livery, watching it a bit early in the broadcast for that, but I'll tell you what, that Penguin RC simulation BMW LMDH, I'm quite liking that. Yeah, and it's got a few different textures in there. I mean, it's got Apex Action written on it. I mean, that should be Apex Racing TV or Apex Racing Team, you know, bit of a better allegiance. Not that we're biased or anything, you know, just saying. But no, that's really, really smart, and enjoying the sort of like the mottled effects as well they've got on some of the panels. I tell you what, it's fascinating the amount of the creativeness of which so many of the livery makers come up with, and their skills and abilities to pull off those spectacular liveries.
Yeah, it's really nice. I think that the Dallara P217, I think, genuinely looks very nice. It's got a lot of potential with it. Some nice kind of flat sides, and you can probably show off the sponsors. Quick shout out to one of the sponsors, in fact. Which for this series is SimRace 24/7. Thanks to them for sponsoring the championship, and of course we have done a lot of research when it comes to iRacing and sim racing generally. And SimRace 24/7 is a fantastic place to see exactly what's going on a variety of platforms. Do certainly check out their website. Constantly new articles covering everything that is going on in the world of our #1 hobby.
Definitely. Let's take a look through the grid then. That's how I'm going to line up for the first round of the season. And it's Penguin RC Simulation, piloted by Blake Reynolds, taking the first pole position. Antonio Rodriguez of Poseidon Future Racing. Row 2 is RD Simsport with We2 Fast Racing. That's 2Pi Racing Team with another RD Simsport 2 on the 3rd row of the grid. 4th row, that's got Jesse Lyon of Satellite Racing with Thomas Fisher from cms.racing.com Pro. Row 5, and rounding out your top 10, is Mowbray from Sim HQ Motorsports Orange and Pneumatic Motorsports. Row 6 is David Nelson of Static Adrenaline and Keenan Massey of The Organisation. What a name. It's almost got like Sopranos-esque bit of a vibe to it. It's LMP2 now. Rukuros takes pole position in that category for Tempest Sim Sports, with Sim HQ Motorsports Red lining up alongside them. Row 2 is 100 Force with Sim Republic SR3. Row 3 in the category is Longhorn Racing and Blue Shell Racing with Paul Grazer of The Organisation Pro-Am. Rounding out that category and taking it to 19th, Steve Mello is going to start 20th and running out row 10. The RD Simsport 4 on your pole sitter in GT3. Row 2, well, row 11 is Fonseca from Tempest Sim Sports, Dogbear Black. Row 12 is Sim Racing PR, with Back Pain and Eye Strain Racing alongside them. Then we've got 2Pi Racing Team, Team Brake Fade, Imperial Motorsports with marginally above average, and row 15 is Valhalla Motorsports with Penguin RC Simulation. Sam's favourite name, mine, Mike Sachs of Flying Lion SG, lines up alongside Can-Am Racing. SMS Racing, they've got Wild Juice Racecraft for company alongside them. CMSRacing.com Ghosts line up alongside Two Bros Motorsport. They're completing out the grid is Longhorn Racing and Sim Republic SR2. That is your 38 car grid. However, I can see Sim Republic SR2 in GT3 and the Audi. They have not taken to the grid. Neither have the organisation from LMDH. So already, if they're going to start from the pits, they're going to be well down, especially the LMDH of the organisation. Not helping them, but the safety car is in as we get ready to go racing. 3 hours of endurance racing around Daytona. We are green and we are off and away at the front of the field. And it's a nice calm start. As always, we head round turn 1.
And that was Jesse Lyon for Satellite Racing, already around one of our favourites for the championship. Making contact, but fortunately they have avoided, I think, too much there. Will not help their aerodynamics too much, but that is not too negative. As Rui Quiros for Tempest Simsport, they are getting away ahead of Sim HQ Motorsports. However, 100 Force are trying to go for the move straight away. There's almost contact for second position, and it is 100 Force who are able to get past, and Sim HQ will have to drop back slightly as the GT3s get underway. Huge start there for the RD Simsport 4 machine. Tempest Simsport 101, seemingly all right in their Audi, and looking up the inside there is Sim Racing PR past Dogbear Black. That's a nice start for them. Dogbear Black playing that one very careful, albeit they've got on the grass slightly and almost losing control of the car. They may well lose another position if they're not careful, but for now Shane Norton being able to get that car pointing in the right direction again, and they are all safe. And behind them, mainly getting into single files, the track narrows through these next couple of corners.
Well, it's not been the best of start in LMP2 for Satellite Racing. They're down 4 places already at this early stage. You'll see the GT3s heading through here, and well, relatively calm, but out in front it's, while the slipstream train is happening already under 2 temps, separating our top 3. Are they going to make it a 3-1 into turn 1 at this early stage? No, they're not. They like to back out of it, but they have another go at it again, and Penguin under a lot of trouble for RD Simsport, end up drifting out wide of what looked like for a challenge to the lead. They're now down into 4th. They've lost the place. We've got the second group having a good go at one another here. CMS involved in this, along with Sim HQ as well, just behind them, followed by Pneumatic Motorsport Blue. And then we've got the tail of the field for Static Adrenaline and Satellite Racing rounding that one out. They've just swapped places. There you go. That is the move done into turn 4 there. Now that's where it gets a bit interesting, Sam, because these LMDHs, we've got a bit of a less time compared to what we used to be with the previous, the old LMP1s, where they used to catch up a lot quicker to the GT3s. But that's where it's going to get even more interesting. We see Rikuras really sort of stamping a bit of authority here in LMP2, nearly a second clear of 100 Force, and you're likewise 1.3 seconds clear of Sim HQ Motorsports, and then there's everyone queued up in LMP2 behind them. Let's keep you up to date in GT3. RD Simsport 4 still lead that one after taking pole. Tempest Simsport second, but they're pretty much nose to tail all the way back through the field with a bit of a gap between 6th and 7th. I say that's 1.5 seconds between Backup Pain and Eye Strain Racing Team, and then Penguin RC, who are in 7th. But normally, it's a bit more of a calmer affair in GT3, unlike up front, Sam.
RD Simsport past We Too Fast Racing, fastest up of the race that time round. As we, in fact, we might have a return, but blinking out, that's going to be very tricky for the other cars to react. But good driving there from the Obsidian Racing car in order to just back out of or leave space on the inside for a car that they had a 50-50 chance whether it was there or not. the slipstream effect so strong around this Daytona circuit. And yeah, fastest lap of the race that last time around was actually for 2 iRacing team, was some 0.4 of a second faster. So these guys all look like they're even pace. Now, of course, this is very early stages. They might start pulling away as the tyres take an advantage, and of course there'll be driver swaps as well. But this is really positive to see, and Penguin absolutely cannot get away right now out in the lead. They're just constantly be dragging back once they got onto the backing.
Let's take a look at the replay here. So Longhorn, I did spot they dropped a little bit back off field. It's that corner we spoke about, Sam. Turn 7, too much mustard. There we go. Around they go. Not the start that they would have hoped for. It's going to be a long afternoon for them. They're about 12 seconds down on the rest of the field when they got the machine going again. And also it means they're going to get caught up into this battle for the lead overall and in LMDH, because they're not too far down the road from Longhorn, but they're going to catch them. Well, the tricky part of the track as well, Sam, it's going to be that infield section where it's a bit more harder to pass.
Yeah, and these LMDH cars have nice top speed as well, so, you know, it's not a case that, you know, their advantage necessarily comes through the corners a whole lot. It's mainly that straight line speeders. Look at that move in the background, flashing the lights because he knows that he sent it in too much. That was Angel Ledesma, fastest lap of the race so far being held by him. In fact, he set consecutive fastest laps, and now they're going through the fast left-hander. The Lamborghini on the brakes, they managed to get through those LMDH cars with enough downforce that they can miss the apex and still make that corner. But Ledesma was a little bit out of control there going into turn 3, but managed to avoid any more contact.
Well, with Rodriguez upside of racing, and this is going to be the chance, or are they going to... Now, this is the tricky one, isn't it, with Sam? Because if this is either IMSA or European Sprint Series officials, you go for this overtake. But endurance, do you elect? Well, I think maybe that's a bit of our answer, although it's a bit more of a power play making the overtake coming out of the bus stop. Or the Le Mans chicane, I think we'll save that discussion for a little bit later. It's all, I think someone's off there. I'm seeing time marks across.
I think that may have been a little while back. I'm really not sure who that was necessarily.
Oh, no, it's someone. There we go. It's Two Bros Motors. No, sorry, it's Valhalla Motorsports. That Lamborghini. Because they were up on the back of the pack, right behind Two Bros Motorsport. They've fallen well down, so I think they've had a little bit of an excursion across the track there. But I tell you what, it's amazing how aggressive Archie Convoy of RD Simsport is right now. But here they go. They're caught up in the back end.
So it's going to up, Sam.
No, go for it, Sam.
Nearly. But I thought Ledesma were going to send it because he sent it on the last lap. And now they really are amongst the GT3s. This will be very tricky for them. SimHQ, meanwhile, getting past Satellite Racing because they had a spin right at the start to Satellite Racing. As we all get a huge hold up there, and that is going to be a change for second position. They're 3 wide. The number 2 Porsche doing a good job at keeping out of the way. Archie Coveney managing to get past for RD Simsport up into P2. Now they're moving past the number 3 BMW as well, just being able to negotiate their way around. This might start to spread out the field, but at the moment they're all losing a similar amount of time. And by the way, just pointing out as well, Sim Republic up into 3rd position now out of the LMP2 cars. They managed to get past Sim HQ Motorsports Red on that previous lap, as we might have a change to the lead. RD Simsport going for it. I'm surprised they went for that one because that's really compromised their pace. Also, they're just getting into traffic again, but he has got past, and look at the pace as well for a couple of the LMDHs. I think it's that We Too Fast Racing with a fantastic run in that fantastic livery as well.
It is, Sam. The only saving grace that RD have got is because of the amount of traffic in GT3 is that they can utilise the back markers to slipstream and get this through. But they're going to split the GT3 here, go either side, left, right. This is always a bit of a scary moment if you're the GT3 in the middle of them and you need to stay on your line. As we're 3 wide yet again, it's coming a bit of a struggle here for the LMDHs to pick their way through the traffic, but they're getting it done. And I'm amazed, Sam, that we've not had one incident so far, but we have got a stacked field in GT3. There are 19 cars. Well, I'd say that Sim Republic SR2, they did not get going in the end, so we are 18 cars in GT3. But even so, it's being handled relatively well while they're still attacking one another.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the pilots have got to go to the GT3s right now. They're doing an amazing job. They're keeping a consistent line as bit of a dive back there. I think that was RD Sim Sport. Tony Sidcar, now there is contact, and that is Sidcar around. He tried to go up the inside, and then we got another LMDH involved as well. Just did not quite spot that one early, and another one as well. That was that PN Pneumatic Motorsports. I think was it CMSRacing.com Pro Thomas Fisher. I think may have been the one who initially made the contact. That was unfortunate, particularly for the first LMDH one, because just went to the outside and, well, yeah, just completely flummoxed by the car. It's standing in the way, and now we have Mowbray as well in the wall, just moving in the braking zone, it looked like. And I think that was, what's that, PNU Matic again, making more contact. So they've had 2 bits of contact in one straight.
We have got live stewarding in this series, so I'm sure that's going to be looked at there. With the GT3 on the outside, the innocent bystander in all that, Sam.
CMS Racing, they were the ones who made the contact then, so they have come in for repairs. They do get a fast repair.
But you don't, which is not even at the 10-minute mark. I know we're seconds away from being at that stage, but even so, Sam, it's not. You don't want to be burning through your fast repair at this stage in the race.
No. I mean, you won't be leaving it to the end, particularly in a championship like this when you need consistent results. You don't want to be using that fast repair unless it's necessary. Even if you have got a little bit of air damage, you're going to try to get it done. Just with the extra time. So that's broken up the LMDHs slightly, but you had to keep on tuned with that one because really it was only a matter of time. SimHQ and Sim Republic alongside with one another. That is Sim Republic maintaining that advantage. They lost a 10th on that previous lap, but they are holding on right now. They made that move a fair bit earlier in the race. In fact, Ewan Marshall starts it one place higher than this. But now Nathan Sulane in that podium position. And still Tempest Sim Sports number 11. Quite happily out in the lead, about a second ahead of 100 Force. Those 2 P2 cars pulling away out ahead.
Oh no, that's another LMDH around. That is We See Fast Racing. Jack Chrissy piloting that prototype. And I'm trying to work out. I think there might be a bit of damage there, Sam.
He's got a puncher. New damage model? I'll see that.
Well, yeah. Not something you tend to see in iRacing, the puncher so much. Yeah, he has. I mean, that front left has had a right clatter of... I'm trying to work out where he may have... I mean, he must have spun coming out of Le Mans chicane for that to happen.
And it's
so
by
then hit
himself.
front left.
I'll be frustrated with this one, won't he, Jack? Lost it
there you
mid-corner,
go.
and then, so he was actually losing it mid-corner. Maybe had a chance of holding on to it, but then it was losing it pretty much onto the grass, which then really sent the car around. Fortunately for him, he didn't have anyone directly behind him, so he could rejoin all right. But yeah, that will definitely require a fast repair.
So it's really broken things up in LMDH. Big gaps between quite a few of the cars after there being nose to tail and ultra competitive in the opening minutes here from Daytona. In GT3, Mello still leading for RD Sim Sport 4, however, that Tempest Sim Sport Audi hot on their heels. Dog Bear Black, they've dropped outside the top 4 as for the Porsche, the lone Ferrari in the race. They are. Porsche's doing okay. It's still not the, not breaking into the top. One car in the top 10 of GT3 right now. As we see RD head through the bus stop chicane, and they've got a bit of time to breathe before they start getting caught by the LMP2s, although not too much time because they're not going to be too far behind them. They're just starting to catch the tail end of GT3. However, they have been broken up quite a bit in these early stages where the LMP3s have sort of done that job of just, acting as the great divider and breaking them up a bit, where they've had to trip over one another in these opening stages. But is this going to be a change for the lead into turn 1? Tempest almost bump drafting RD along through the tri-oval there, but electing maybe just going for the fuel saving game. Of course, the GT3s are limited on fuel. They've had a 1% reduction in their fuel capacity, which we were talking about this for the race, Sam. Obviously, the GT3s, it's make sure you get to the hour mark, isn't it, in terms of your pit strategy. And we think, you know, the organisers look like they've done this to ensure that they have to stop every hour. You can't fuel save your way around this, and you have to make it, you know, you have to stop 3 times.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. But if you can, I feel like it's still possible though. And you are going to save a decent amount of time by not having to chunder down the pit lane an extra time. So yeah, if you can... Oh, 104 are off the circuit in LMP2. Ewan Marshall, apologies, Nicholas Maynard, for a while was off the track. I think we'll get a replay of that, but he's lost about 6 seconds there. He was on the tail of the race leader, but now he is dropping down, well, all the way down. There he is, into the wall. Now that very much has the feeling of a incident with the GT3 car. I wonder if he's gone to the outside there, maybe got crowded out and just locked up and gone straight on. Or maybe this is going to be by himself. So actually, this is a fair bit earlier, so I wonder if he's had contact already with this Porsche, the 218, but no, he manages to get past, then goes straight on. So it was sort of an incident with the GT3, and then I guess he's got to the left-hander and just had no steering.
Let's stay, hopefully we can stay with this and find out. So on board with, oh, look at that steering, Sam. He's 90 degrees to the right for a straight line.
He should be great through the left-handers, though. But then he's not. No, and well, it's one of those, isn't it? It's do you or don't you? You can understand why he was pushing, desperate to get past the GT3s. Didn't want to lose time, but then in equal measures, sometimes you've got to think about that long game, haven't you? You know, we are racing for 3 hours. Yes, you might lose a bit of time, but there's going to be chances and times when that time will come back to you. And it's also a concentration thing as well, at least in my experience. The challenge, more than anything else when it comes to endurance racing, is keeping your concentration, thinking about every single move that you make, which perhaps is a little bit unrealistic in the end when you're driving. You're not even thinking about what you're doing, you're just letting your subconscious sort of take over. But when it comes to dealing with traffic like that, you do feel like such an idiot where you're after an incident that, yeah, you weren't really thinking about too much. And that maybe was what happened there, just didn't weigh up all the options, and yeah, a crucial mistake which has probably ruled them out of race winning opportunities. I wouldn't rule them out of a podium though, because they have looked very quick so far tonight.
They definitely have, Sam, they definitely have. As we see, well, we've got the LMDHs, LMP2s and GT3s all intermingle and intersperse with one another right now. Interesting, last time around, fastest lap of the race went to RD Sim Sport 2 in LMDH. We're currently, well, last in class, if you don't include, obviously, the organisation who didn't make the start and haven't got going. 18th overall, but, well, they're pushing it to get back up. They're behind all of the LMP2s as well. So we see Obsidian just heading through Le Mans chicane here. And I'll tell you what, they're making up a bit of time on RD, aren't they? You can see, just looking at it here, Sam, watching the interval gaps, it is coming down ever so slightly.
I was wondering if that, yeah, done for 1 second. I feel like it's just going to be an ebb and flow of the traffic. But it's been fairly consistent, to be fair, by that graphic. Well, apart from that lap. And yeah, managed to take a big chunk. So that was very advantageous there. But yeah, just looking at RD Sim Sport number 2, the Peter Sikdar car, which you were saying is at the fastest lap of the race. I wonder if they're going to be able to do one less pit stop now, because we're expecting these P2s and the LMDHs to go between about 35 and 40 minutes. The LMDHs generally last maybe a lap longer on fuel. Oh dear, we got Jack Chrissy off again. He is not having a nice time, but already taken a fast repair has Chrissy with that crash, I want to say, at the bus stop earlier on.
Yes, it was, yeah.
And well, I think he's avoided damage there, but he's, yeah, needs to calm down a little bit, it seems. CMS Racing moving past Static Adrenaline. That's sort of what we anticipated, because CMS have already had to take a pit stop. Didn't take much fuel though at that pit stop, only 4 seconds. Took the fast repair and then went straight back out. So
he's working his way through the traffic here. Oh, he's just locked up the rear, Sam, on entry. Oh, and starred out beautifully.
And the Audi as well. Was that the 42 or something? That was Brian Blanchett for Team Brake Fade. He needed all the brakes he could need it there, because that was great avoidance. 3 wide.
Oh, and dear, no, that's going to send the BMW on and in deep, and the Penguin BMW goes through. They had the wipers on there. Clearly not able to see clear enough to avoid going in the rear end of their competitor.
I think they might be giving it back here. There you go.
It was the back pain and eye strain racing team that they hit, and well, they might have had a bit of back pain from tap from behind there, and this is where it gets a bit messy as you've got the 78 in LMP2. That is Longhorn Racing trying to negotiate their way through. Not doing so well here with the traffic. Just needs to be a bit more confident maybe, but they've got their fellow competitor behind them, which is Blue Shell. They're incredibly close. They're only 8 tenths behind them, and they're going to catch them dramatically out onto the tri-oval now.
Yeah, out there you go. And yeah, that great race so far for the car number 3 actually, because they started pretty much from the back. Back of the midfield, should I say. They're up 5 places anyway, which is highest gains of anyone in the GT3 category. And so I think Ray Kingsbury was going to make that move eventually, but yeah, a little bit disappointed that it was in the form that it was. Good iRating as well for Ray Kingsbury. 3.1k, one of the higher iRating drivers out there. Melo and Fonseca, who are currently leading the GT3 category in the 4Ks, as Robbie Prescott for the 911 machine. Gosh, that was very close. I thought Jack Chrissy again moving past, I think. Maybe not, no, apologies. It was someone else.
Well,
Mike Sachs. Gonna say that as much as I can.
Well, yes, definitely, Sam. Definitely. And it's a cracking name, that, isn't it? It just rolls off the tongue so well.
If one of his teammates has the surname Trumpet, then I think I'll just retire from commentating on this, because that would be the high of my life right there.
So
find Jeff Trumpet and make a team, is all I can say.
So you're saying that'll be instrumental to your retirement?
Really nice, Tim. Real nice.
Yeah. Let's take a look at this replay to get out of that my poor jokes nicely. Marginally above racing, above average sim races even. Thank you now.
And finds that bit of tarmac, which I'm not sure why it exists. I think it's some kind of like escape road in case someone has a issue at the bus stop. It's a huge, like, I know when you go off here at Daytona, I mean the walls aren't that far away, but you do feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. And it's very awkward to get back going, and then you're losing time all the way as you rejoin. Very close right now for the top 3 in the LMDH category. Obsidian have been getting closer and closer. In fact, I think they lost the lead a couple of laps ago. Yeah, RD managed to get past Obsidian. My apologies. And it's yeah, Penguin RC Simulation who were leading down to 3rd.
They are, Sam, and tell you what, it's really spaced out in LMDH, but then it's closed back up again. It's a perennial accordion effect like you get in multi-class racing, and we've gone from, you know, being well over a second between RD and Obsidian, and then likewise between Obsidian and Penguin. Now we've got about just coming up to what, 1.5. Oh, there's an LMP2 off there. I just saw out the corner of my eye. There it is, Longhorn. Oh, that's a shame for them. Mark Johnson was doing quite well up until that point. Now he's going to have dropped a couple of places, I think, from that, and wow, another one bites the dust, as I can see just in the background. They're coming into dusk.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sam. There's another 2.5 hours left of this.
No, was that meant to be a joke? I thought that was just an observation.
Well, it was a bit.
Observational comedy there.
Yeah, appallingly bad on both fronts, really. But no, it's a bit of a tricky. Now, this is going to be also how many drivers have. Well, you know, these are decent caliber drivers, so you'd like to think they've remembered to, you know, in iRacing and the graphical settings, to turn HDR off, because when the sun comes low, yeah, you can't see anything in iRacing whatsoever. And that's the last thing you need when you're just racing in with one class of car, let alone doing it with multi-class and in endurance as well. So you're going to have to do it for even longer.
I think I've got used to running iRacing settings on my former rig so low that I don't think I've ever needed HDR. But I do remember in Project Cars it was an absolute mare whenever you had sunset in that. So yeah, they do need to be cautious about that one.
It's one of those ones where, you know, you think, oh, yeah, first time, oh, wow, this is amazing, this is really pretty. And then you come to actually try and race on it and you follow someone closely. It's like, no.
Especially when you've got the transition as well, where you go from nice light to bad light. It really does emphasise the lack of visibility that you have. As there is our LMP2 leader. In fact, I think there's just been a change. No, apologies.
No.
Jack Christie just passing Ewan Marshall, but that is LMDH versus P2, so not a big thing. But Tempest Simsport, yeah, no change up here. Continuing to open up that gap. Got a long, long way to go. We're not even a sixth of the way into this race so far. So certainly only the start of the mission, but in terms of pace, it seems like no one can touch Ree right now.
No, I'm just looking at lap times. I'm going to wait for the next batch to come across the line, being, you know, Sim HQ, Motorsport, and Sim Republic. However, it's looking incredibly positive right now for Riqueiros because, I mean, he's looking like, so last time around Sam, he was 4 tenths quicker than Ewan Marshall of Sim HQ Motorsport Red. And he was 1.2 seconds, yes, that's great, 1.2 seconds quicker than Sim Republic SR3. We're currently lining third in class as, oh, something's happened to Jesse Lyon. I think Satellite Racing LMDH has had a bit of an excursion off track somewhere. Let's see if we're bringing that shortly. But again, talking those gaps in LMDH, they've expanded out once again. This is, we're going to find out what's happened to Satellite Racing. Too late on the brakes, Sam?
This is where they spun, I think, on lap on, didn't they, as well?
Yes.
Albeit that one was very much helped by contact. This one was not.
No, it wasn't.
Off the circuit. Yeah, really such a tricky corner that, with the change in camber that you have, you almost have like two kind of levels there. And in different cars, you need to take a different line. I think generally a wider line is quite good. As under investigation, RD Simsport 2 and We2 Fast Racing. That was 11 minutes and 47 minutes. So that was a little while ago. But I wonder, was that the incident we saw into the bus stop involving the GT3 when the LMDHs were first rushing past the order?
That would have been, yes, Sam. Yes, because it was on like their second sweep through. Because they got there in about. Actually, no, it would have been. Apologies, that would have been their first sweep through. Well, at least a track of time, yeah. You know what it's like. You don't know quite the time goes. Already 20. I'm just coming up to 27 minutes complete. Nearly 1/6 of the way through the race. But yeah, I mean, not surprising. I think from all of us, both drivers, commentators, and those of you watching along at home. And thanks for tuning in. That one is under investigation because the GT3 that was on the outside, which I can't quite remember, I think it was one of the Audis, wasn't it, Sam? I think from memory, was it one of the Lamborghinis?
I'm not sure. I think Audi or Lamborghini is high percentage opportunity that it's going to be one of them, though. So I see what you're doing.
It is. Well, it was. No, I can remember. It was definitely one of those two. It definitely wasn't a BMW. It certainly wasn't a Ferrari. The Ferrari of Dog Bear Black, and it wasn't one of the Porsches. So process of elimination. I think it was the Audi. Anyway.
Well done. You've whittled it down to 6 cars, Tim.
I have. Here we go. I'm getting there slowly. Bit process of elimination going on here. Yeah, I mean, we were speaking a little bit earlier about those gaps out, you know, the accordion effect. Top 3 in LMDH closed right up. You know, there was about 1.5 to 1.7 seconds covering our top 3. Now, RD have put pedal to the metal, clearly caught a bit lucky in the traffic as well. They are 3.3 seconds clear of second place. The gap between Acidian in second and Penguin in third still remains at about 7 tenths. If anything, that's closed up because that was a bit more closer to the second mark than 7 tenths. So I say that, it just grows ever so slightly, increases above the 8 tenths, but there we go.
Yeah, Archie Coveney looking very good right now. This battle's also looking very good because we got 4 GT3s fairly close to one another. Jose Correa, the 2Pi racing team, got a couple of teams doing well at the moment. 4th place in the LMDH category and 4th place in the GT3 category. He is ahead of Ray Kingsbury racing RC Simulation. Now 6 places is Kingsbury. Don't know what happened to Kingsbury in qualifying, but like I said earlier on, really storming through the order and has probably podium challenging pace, at least as Kingsbury. I don't know about his teammate. Yeah, unusual that he started so far. Dan is they're glitching in and out there. That was the Lamborghini. I think Jose Correa's lost that position, so Kingsbury up into 4th now in the GT3s. 2Pi Racing team down to 5th, and the Black Pain and Ice Train will try to move their way past as well. And I think Jack Chrissy has just got past Dan Mowbray. Now Chrissy's been ever so fast. Unfortunately, has had to use a faster pair, and also has had another spin as well. So we see Fast Racing. Yeah, just not able to maximise the result, but positive signs for the 69 car so fast now.
It's a big old mission though, isn't it? I mean, 32 seconds, like you say, up to static adrenaline. Car in front of them in the standings in 8th place. Someone we haven't really mentioned, to be fair. They've just caught up in a bit of traffic, and wow, it's clearing the number 2 Porsche there, which is the... Try to see, there they are. Yeah, it's Chip Witt of Wild Juice Racecraft. And I mean, they need to keep pushing on and striving on, but then they've got the leader behind them. They're about to get lapped, in fact, aren't they? Because that is Archie Convoy of RD Simsport right behind them. And that's a bit of a stab in the, you know, to the gut, isn't it? Because coming into this, the pace that they were showing with Too Fast, I mean, you could have argued they could have been right up there for a podium.
Yeah, talking of right up there, Satellite Racing was, Bodgie's 2Pi Racing team were going Herbie style almost up on the banking.
Well, that's interesting. They've pulled out quite a bit of time there, Sam, because Penguin were about 7/10, less than a lap ago, behind Obsidian. They've lost about a good half a second, and Penguin now right up onto the back of them and in the slipstream and engaging full attack mode. You know, in the hybrid deployment, you can change it around. They're definitely going to be in attack mode right now. Try and push this.
Yeah, they sure are. It's going to be interesting to see what We 2 Fast Racing do when they come up to being lapped, because they're not far off the leaders' pace. Remember, they were in that lead pack for that frenetic first 10 minutes of this 3-hour race. And so they should be able to stick with these race leaders. And I'm not entirely sure what the blue flag rules in this series are, but I assume it's just going to be iRacing, which is advisory. You don't have to let the pass. Obsidian Racing Future are off. They have gone off. That's the second that's the second prototype we've seen off at that corner. But fortunately, this time they have not reached the wall. But that is a change there for Obsidian Racing, who were looking fairly good. Have recently set a fastest lap of the race as well. They do have the fastest lap of the race into the 31s, but this time it was with a GT3. And well, that's all on Rodriguez, unfortunately.
That is all on Rodriguez, isn't it? And gutting for them, because they were really building into the race nicely.
And now 2Pi, not having to do too much, they're in the podium, and they might be past Penguin very soon for second position.
They've really, you know, taken out quite a bit of time, haven't they? They're really pushing on 2Pi, and well, here we go. Could even be heading into second, into turn 1 on the inside. They've got one of the Audis in front of them. What part of the story are they going to play in it? Well, they're going to aid and abet them. Able to box in Penguin to get the move done very, very nicely there.
Miguel Ledesma looking really strong, looked very strong in the early stages, set a couple of fastest laps right at the start. And he started in P5. They seem to sort of disappear for a bit, but now Miguel is right up there once again, absolutely showing the pace that he can deliver. Shout out to the title sponsor for this championship as well, Penguin RC Simulation. And if you want wheel boxes, button boxes, which are made for VRS, Fanatec, SimuCube, AccuForce, or Simply.city, or many other companies, do check out Penguin RC Simulation. Just check out their website, shop.penguinrc.com, and you can get a wide range of premium sim racing products to improve your rig. So yeah, do check them out, and big thanks to them for making this series and this broadcast possible.
Well, continue to look down into GT3 right now, and well, after
Clutch.
35 minutes of this, a lovely bit of clutch there going on.
Tempest are two-stopping. They are two. You can take all the fuel out of that car you want. Paulo Fonseca is going to make this happen.
He's just going to, so the Sam Fitzpatrick prediction of the day is not going to mount any attack onto RD. Just sit in this draft and just coast their way to victory.
Yeah. If they can save a pit stop here, this will be. I mean, it would be such an advantage. I mean, what are we talking in terms of extra pit lane time? Probably 25 seconds. That you're going to have to go, since they've extended the pit lane here at Daytona. It's much more of a penalty. Now, of course, the pit lane speed limit is much higher than it is at several other circuits, but still, yeah, 20-25 seconds you're going to be losing. So, yeah, I think Tempest are looking excellent right now. So they're basically in the race here. There's undoubtedly Tempest are leading this race because of the fuel they've saved. They're going to be able to take a few seconds less worth of fuel, seeing that they've been having much less air resistance for 35 minutes.
Interesting there as well. Not, they were building the pace and then just backing out the throttle to maintain that gap to RD. You're going to see it here. You can see it from the lights on board on the on the rev counter. Watch them build, and then not going to bounce off the rev limiter like you normally expect to see. Just maybe use a bit they're using a bit to just close the gap up. You can see the traffic that's coming through, and then wow, that is a big clutch in, isn't it? All the way from the start-finish line into deep into the braking point before he's even re-engaging the clutch.
I wonder if RD is doing something similar, because they're really not losing any time down the straight as well. So I wonder if RD are using a bit of fuel themselves, but it won't be as much, undoubtedly. Yeah, I mean, how many of these guys are really planning on doing that two-stop strategy? Like we were saying earlier, they are limited to just 99% fuel, and this is the highest fuel consumption circuit you'll visit on iRacing. Ooh, Toupee, they are round. It's at them, I think it is, and they've done a wise thing there of reversing. Angel Ledesma was on fire. Hang on, he hasn't beached it, has he? No, he's all right. Oh, I was a bit concerned from there. Did he have front-wheel drive? Is that what they deploy the?
Yes, it is.
Energy deployment. Yep. So he would have been all right anyway.
He would have been, yes. I mean, but even then, if you could just beach it enough where neither the front nor the rear is really sort of, the car sort of rocketing on a pivot point, you can sometimes get completely in at least that. It's like you say, you've got a bit more chance of getting in that situation compared to an LMP2, which obviously has no hybrid deployment, is purely rear-wheel drive. There's a bit of a track race on here, and this is where it gets tricky, where you can't, not going to overspeed, especially if you've got much hybrid deployment left. This is all by himself, Sam. That long, lazy spin. You see quite often into that corner. Maybe we nearly got clipped as well by the GT3 coming through there. I think, was that Can-Am Racing potentially? I think it might have been.
Let us know on the chat in terms of the tyre situation, because in the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship that we broadcast on a Thursday on their channel, in that one, a lot of the drivers were pitting for tyres only half an hour into the race. It was an hour-long race, and even then they were taking tyres at their pit stop. I think they'll be taking tyres as much as they possibly can for this one, albeit they are limited to just 3 tyre sets, so I guess they will have to go a bit further. So expect to see a few more instances like that, because yeah, the tyres in this LMDH car do not last forever. Yeah, they're going to have to pushing it for probably an hour, as the number 79
you
gets
go.
a little bit far on the jacks.
And up on the jacks, Sam, replacing tyres. Seeing the LMP2s coming in here as well. We've got Sim Republic and the organisation Pro-Am in from LMP2. There's a long old stop occurring there. So full fuel, back down onto the floor, just waiting for the fueling to finish off, and then Fisher of CMS will be on their way. There we go. They're off. That was cost them 32 seconds. As here is Penguin in from second place.
Yep, so around that 42 minutes. I'm surprised that the LMP2s haven't all pitted yet. Usually we sometimes see the MDHs be able to go a couple minutes further, but actually it seems like the two pit stop classes are pretty much exactly the same. Maybe even the LMDH is having to pit a little bit earlier. And Penguin with a strong start to this race, not expecting any driver changes this early. You'd think they'll probably do 2 or 3 stints before changing drivers, as Jesse Lyon going too far. It's so common. We've got such a fast pit lane.
They've had a driver change. Austin Cuspid has got into the car for them. Just keeping an eye on anyone else with a driver change going on right now. We've got Blue Shell Racing and LMP2. They're coming into the pits. Likewise, Longhorn as well. That's looking like yes for Sim HQ. Ewan Marshall's going to remain in the car for them. There is Longhorn, as mentioned, coming into the pits. This is where it gets a bit more tricky again, doesn't it, Sam? Because you've got to, as that is Satellite heading out, because you're going to come out into, cars, you've got cold tyres, you need to get them up to temperature, Certainly the GT3 is all going to be on, nicely warmed up cars, nicely warmed up tyres. As that is our leader in RD Sim Sport.
Yep, so that's definitely as far as that could go. So 40 minutes, doesn't seem like anyone's going to be able to get a cheap pit stop or one less pit stop than anyone else. We're going to have the 5 pit stops, apologies, in this race. 4 pit stops. 40 minutes, 1 hour 20, 2 hours, and 2 hours 40. So 4 pit stops for these drivers. Not going to be able to get it down to 3 pit stops. So it should just be, no fuel saving required. That'll just be absolutely sending a Tempest Sim Sport as well into the pits. What a first stint this is from Rui Quiros. Hopefully he stays in the car because no need for a change.
No, certainly on that form. I mean, it was a big old lead that he had built up to the point of, second in class is currently 104th, and they are only halfway round the lap. And Tempest slowed down from the pit, and oh no, that's an unconventional line. As we too fast had another
same corner
excursion. As well. Cold tyres as well on that car.
Yep. No, they haven't pitted recently. They have pitted, but it was a while ago.
Oh
so
yes,
aged tyres, if anything, on this one. Well, it was the corner that you identified earlier on as a tricky one, and that's part of the reason why.
I thought he'd come off the track coming out of the bus stop, but just caught me out, which is where you got that extra bit of tarmac there and joining up onto the oval. That is your leader in LMP2, back out and running as 104th in second place. They are coming into the pits. So we'll get an understanding in a minute. There we go. Sim HQ, they have already pitted by our 20-second lead, and we're not even up to the hour as Austin Cupstead of 2Pi.
They've had a really rough time, hasn't he, Austin? Why is he so... Has he dropped back at all, or...?
Yeah, massively, Sam, because let's not
he's
forget
come
that...
into the pits again, hasn't he? He's pitted twice. I think he's made an extra pit stop.
Yes. Yeah, have they driven through the pit lane again? Because look, that the last pit lane time
maybe they got like
seconds.
a penalty or something. Maybe they had to take a stop and hold. It's such a shame. They were fighting for the race lead, and now they are a minute behind.
They're down all the way down in 9th. They're down 4 places from where they started. They had that brilliant start, climbed all those places, and all Wow, it just goes to show, doesn't it? This is the beauty and the beast of multi-class endurance racing, where it can all come undone for you in the blink of an eye.
I'm going to go back in the replay and find out what has happened to these guys. Unless maybe it's John already found it for us.
It's... Oh. Well, that's a bit of a strange one.
Okay, I can't see that one.
So the car rolled forward, Sam, and then just casually turned left into the wall in their pit box, and then got off, and then it jumped back to the pits into his pit box. So I'm not too sure. Maybe some hardware issues potentially going on there, or something. We see fast racing, stern warring, poor car control resulting in avoidable contact. That's for we see fast racing. Well, they've had a... Oh no, it's around again! That's live pictures! And Austin Cupstead is not having the best of times right now. Oh dear, it's not going well, and they're going to lose another place, because I tell you what, that's RD Simsport 2 heading past them in LMDH. That's a change for position. Down to 10th now. Oh dear. Something not right there, isn't there, Sam?
Well, we should as well point that Austin has got a significantly lower I rating than his as a satellite racing, also where they faced Warning. Yeah, Cupstead does have a much lower I rating than his teammate, so you're certainly not expecting that pace. But yeah, such a shame that they lost that time in the pit stop, and now Austin just needs to get a little bit of a rhythm. There you go, that's the word.
Yes.
And then he should be alright. But yeah, just very, very tricky when you enter back out on a very busy circuit.
That is indeed, isn't it? We've still got no retirements yet. Still got 36 of the starters, of course. The organisation in MDH and Sim Republic SR2 in GT3 and the Audi. They did not make the start. They didn't get going at all. So we started with 38 entries, 36 started. No retirements so far. And I'm seeing, well, leaders in GT3. They're still close together. RD Sinsport and Tempest Sinsport, half a second. I think that's going to be a very common theme right now, but well, look at Adam, Sam, you know, yet to stop. How much fuel has Fonseca of Tempest saved? That is the big question. And what does he do? How do you play this one out as well, Sam? Do you go, right, okay, we'll pit with them and come back out behind them, sit in their wake, and then go for it on the final stint? Or do you go early here and be the car in front and just... Because you're not going to be able to fuel save to the same great effect being the car in front as opposed to being the car behind. It's a tricky conundrum to play this one out.
If he's going for the two-stop, which I think he is going to go for 10%, and maybe a few of the other GT3s might go for it. It might be more possible than what we're talking about. But if he is going for the two-stop, he's just got to go as far as possible in order to, reduce the, change that that pacing of the pit stop. So yeah, he'll be going as far as he possibly can. I imagine. I wonder if he'll be close to the threshold of a lap, and we might even see him drop back maybe later on in the stint just to get that extra lap, because it might lose him a couple of seconds in the short term, but in the long term, it could be essential for his chances in this race. It's currently the tightest battle for the race. And let's not forget Sim Racing PR and Back Pain and Ice Strain and Penguin RC and Toupee Racing Team. They're all within 15 seconds of the lead right now. They are not giving up on this one. Very competitive GT3 pack. I think the LMDH is the most competitive in terms of how close everyone is to one another, but I think the GT3 guys have been, so far, pretty much error-free.
And what we're seeing is still another of the Penguin cars. It's the GT3 one, right in the middle of the Back Pain and Toupee Racing Team. 2 BMWs and a Lamborghini right now. They are going to have one of the LMDHs just catching up behind them It's going to clear them by the time they make turn 1. It's going to make everyone's lives a little bit easier. Are we going to see Two-Pod make a move? No. No, they're not. They're going to elect to sit behind here. And wow. You can see the different lines there. I'm running very, very wide was back pain and eye strain. And now let's put them all nose to tail with the 92 and LMP2. That's our leader, Tempest. I mean, they can afford to lose a bit of time here, Sam, with that. It's 23-second lead now. It was 20, I believe, when they came out of the pits. Now it's 23.
Yeah, we should point out that Krios has got an iRating of 7.5k, which is my iRating plus your iRating plus my iRating, I think, Tim.
Yes.
Is that
yes.
one? So
yes. Yes,
it's
just you're spot on. And that's not, just point out to the viewers, that's not because I have a massive iRating. It's the other way around. Mine's very lowly, about 1,600, I think, 1,700 I am now. It's so long since I've raced.
I don't want to boast to anything. I gained 150 earlier on in 2 races. I was really pleased.
Wow.
It was double the amount of races I've done for the last 6 months. And yeah,
You still
safely in the 3Ks now. Safely. Solid 3K driver.
Well, what can we say, Sam? That is why you are the Winter British Sim Racers Radical Champion.
Yep.
And why we pay you the big bucks here at Apex Racing TV, and all that driver insight
just
and
happens
knowledge.
to be my wage as well for this race as well, 3,000. So yeah.
I don't doubt
like
that. I don't doubt that. But then, thank goodness you give it all back for the love.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Talking of love, 100. They've got hot on their heels the organisation program. I love that team name, the organisation.
It's ominous, isn't it?
It is. It's got that is Sim HQ. Well, into the putts, and then finding reverse gear to back it up a little bit.
RD Simsport also coming in. So a couple of these guys then, remember they had damage about 10 minutes into the race. We saw, I think, 4 LMDH cars suddenly get damaged. They managed to all escape damage for the first 8 minutes or so, and then in the space of half a minute, they all had contact with one another in a couple of unfortunate incidents. And so that, there's basically these bunch of LMDH cars which are completely out of sync with everyone else. However, I don't think that first pit stop was late enough in order to reduce their number of pit stops. They're still going to have to pit with about 10 minutes of the race to go. So a little bit frustrating for them that the incident didn't happen later on. But it's a long race this, that they've got time to recover the probably minute or so that they lost right there. Probably more like minute and a half.
Yeah, still got 2 hours.
Ooh. Looks like he ran over a blue shell there.
Oh, it did, didn't it? Not a happy car is the number 19. Right now, just losing the rear end a little bit there. Luckily, no one directly behind them to collect, but Nick Kuhn up and running again. Lovely sort of half spin there. And right behind them, catching hard, but that's striking. Almost old school Audi inspired livery there is the CMS car. I believe it's 79. Yes, it is. Heading through. Do you know, it always amazes me just the way these cars just, take the speed you can carry through the Le Mans chicane, as it is called now, part of the partnership between IMSA and the World Endurance Championship, where they renamed it from the bus stop to the Le Mans chicane. It's part of that deal. But they will still all call it the bus stop.
It's quite frustrating that for a track where half the corners haven't got names, that they've given one of the corners 2 names. Spread it out, guys, please. Obsidian have got up into second place. They have moved past Penguin RC Simulation. Have been gaining for a few laps. So Antonio Rodriguez passed Blake Reynolds. There he is. And they are going to go past one of the Penguin, one of the other Penguin cars. One of the GT3s. Here was the move. I think it was down to turn 1. Oh, no, it was a mistake. It was a mistake.
It's got to be. It's that far back, Sam.
Oh, and contact as well.
That was the Sim Republic 116 LMP2. Just got swooped, had their own, they were having their own issue, and it's one of those, do you go left, do you go right? Well, not enough speed to try and dip down low and go left, so let's go right. Just wasn't expecting Sim Republic car just to slide out further and further. Well, has it calmed down? Will it ever
A
calm
little bit
down?
of an issue for Coveney. He's losing time. He's just lost a second. May have just been in some traffic there, but the gap's suddenly gone from 9.5 to 8.5 in an instant.
I'm just trying to look, Sam. Where we
Although
might
it was
have caught
across the
traffic.
start-finish line. Yeah, it was a poor lap anyway. But yeah, it was on the run to the line. So
I'm not sure. There were quite a few cars pitting.
he's still losing time.
Yes, he is losing quite a bit. Has he clipped someone?
Yeah, I don't know if he's got like some damage or something, but nothing's coming up on our
No.
event viewer. There he is.
No,
yeah, he's lost 1.5 seconds, and I see no one behind him. So
Mind you, this is the thing. When you've got a decent lead of anywhere, I'd say 5 seconds plus, Sam, you can afford to, you don't have to push your way through the traffic because you see, the pit. If you haven't guessed already, the pit window in GT3 is now open.
yeah, this is quite early. Maybe my prediction of going for the 2-stop.
I don't know, Sam.
Because they've got to go an extra 5 minutes per stint. You've got to save 10% of your fuel.
Well, our leader, RD Simsport 4, they're not in. Tempest Simsport second, who we know are heavily fuel saving, they are obviously, need to say, not in the Audi. Likewise, there we go, our leader is in, and Tempest have stayed out. Now, this is going to be the yardstick. How much fuel has Paolo Fonseca, the Canadian in the Audi, saved from that heavy fuel saving, from deliberately just sitting in the draft as RD Simsport 4? So Mello's gone 31 laps on that stint, Sam, leading.
He needs to go at least 3 laps, which I don't think he'll do. He might get 2 extra ones. It'll be this one or the next one. So unfortunately, my prediction of him going for the 2-stop, I think, may have been over ambitious. And yeah, in the end, that 1% of fuel maybe has completely deterred the Jazz. Even with 100%, I think it would be pushing it. But yeah. Either way, though, it's still an advantage for Fonseca. It's certainly still worth doing for Tempest Simsport. And once the pit stops are complete, he will almost certainly be out in the lead because he is on low fuel right now compared to Mello, who's got about 120 litres now in that tank, and be lugging that all around for the next couple of minutes. And he'll be able to take he'll probably take the same amount of fuel, but it will just mean that in his last pit stop he'll have to take less fuel for the the Tempest Simsport car. Blue Shell Racing have had another incident, and that's a very common place that we are seeing off so far. Nick Kuhn, though, avoiding the wall. Sim Republic move their way past, and 100 Force might also be making their way past here. And a bit cautious there for Kuhn, and 100 Force have been able to make their way past. Nice work there. Did 100 Force have to pit for repairs earlier on? I'm struggling to recall. Were they P2 or something?
Oh, Sam, he's only got a lap extra. All that
saving. Only one extra. Okay. Well, I think, to be fair, I think there was some fuel saving as well from Mello. I think he was fuel saving as well, because in the end he has gone 2 laps further from second than most of the other GT3s. But let's see if he takes a full tank, and let's see if he takes now the lead of this GT3 field.
I mean, it depends. A lot of this I think this is going to come down to traffic on outlaps. Now, I think tactics here at Tempest is to come out just behind Mello of RD Simsport 4. We've also got Sim Racing GPR and 2Pi into the pits. What's that blue shell?
That was Ewan Marshall, Sim HQ Motorsports, running in second place, going very wide in order to allow Blake Reynolds past. There goes Fonseca.
Where is Mello?
I think in the driver briefing they've been told to stay in that line, and everyone's doing it very well. Good job,
They
guys.
have. There's been a couple where I've seen they've sort of dipped below, and it's almost like, where you do, so used to not staying in that line.
I've
And it's
just
like,
seen
there we go.
these two drivers have just had the exact same pit stop time to the 100th of a second. But it is Mello who's going to be ahead. After all of that was a good lap for him. However, Fonseca still within the draft as long as he gets those tyres up to temperature. Of course, they will be taking tyres, the drivers. And so, yeah, Fonseca still very much where he wants to be in that draft.
Which now begs the questions, Sam. I mean, do you in fact just come in at the same time as RD, but at least then I'm toying with the fact then that if they play this tactic again at the next round of pit stops, then this means that they will come out in exactly the same position, which is where they want to be. I don't know. I'm torn in my mind really, because at least this allows to put them back out into the draft. Although they've lost, if anything, they've lost about 8/10 of a second to RD. They're now out of draft range.
Yeah, they lost about 3/10 during the infield, maybe just getting those tyres into the working window, and now actually they are out of the draft. So it's not necessarily the end of the world for them. They just needed to get a little bit lucky with some traffic, and they should be right back in there. But yeah, they need to gain something. And they did take a full tank of fuel, so they weren't taking advantage. Of course, they did go a lap further, so they will have to take less fuel later on in the race when they go in for their third and fourth pit stops. Backstrain and iStrain now behind Sim Racing PR, so they've closed that gap. I think it was fairly close beforehand, to be fair.
It was.
Well, in fact, actually, they took much less fuel. That's interesting. So Backpain and iStrain decided to take 7 seconds less worth of fuel. So they know that they've got to do 3 stops. And so rather than doing a very short stop at the end of the race, they're trying to even out the stints, it looks like. And yeah, drop a little bit of fuel now. And that is why they are so close. They're going 6 seconds during the pit stops. And they're up into P3, the BMW, into the podium.
Around the outside, job done. Was made a little bit easier by Sim Racing PR. They've got Edison Rojas Hernandez into the car, the Argentinian, is piloting that Lamborghini for them right now, whereas Vernon Road has got into the Backpain iStrain BMW. So a few driver changes happening in there. Doug Bear Black, in the Ferrari, they've dropped a few places and not been able to early on, not been able to recover that. They still remain 7th in class. As for the Porsches, it's like Sam's favourite driver name of Mike Sachs of Flying Lion, still the highest Porsche, up 3 places in class. So he climbed up to 9th. They were sitting in 10th for a little while, so they have climbed a few. We've got Simply SR3 and LMP2 into the pits. They were a little bit out of sync anyway, so that's about right for them. So they had pitted due to damage earlier on. And well, that worked out okay then for the WTF LMDH. Give it by its abbreviated name. We Too Fast being, of course, the long version. Wow, Sam, look at this. Oh, Sam, he's fuel saving as well.
Yes, it's
33 seconds. It's not.
I mean, what I would say is that Queiroz has got. We were adding up our I ratings earlier on. He has got a higher I rating than 2nd and 3rd put together.
Wow.
So this is what we have come to expect from Rui. Extremely good driver. I must confess, I'm not sure if he was in the top split of Daytona 24. Any of his teammates or anyone who knows, lets us know in the chat, because he is he's got a high enough high rating for it, and if he wasn't, then he would have been very competitive.
Yeah, if he wasn't, he would have been certainly knocking on the door of. I mean, it depends obviously what I rating his teammates are.
Yeah.
Certainly, a solid 2nd split driver. I'm on board with them. Okay, appreciation the pace, and look, I mean, look at this. It's exactly what you want when you're leading. There is nobody in front of you whatsoever. You can just manage the pace, see yourself, and look at that. Absolutely picture perfect lines through the bus stop. No messing from the Iberian whatsoever. And I saw a statistic recently about iRacing. The highest driver, like country or category as it were, is the Iberians. Highest nationality participants in iRacing.
No, it's Americans.
Well, now hold on.
Yeah, it's clubs.
Come
on, you are manipulating statistics right there, Mr. Timothy Cox.
Yes.
You have misled the viewers.
It is to the Americans, however, that iRacing does split them up. I mean, they are a much larger nation, so, you know, per capita,
The
should we
fact that
say.
they're higher than UK and I think is impressive, and I think significantly higher than UK and I. It's impressive for a nation which, as far as I'm aware, especially when it came to car racing, 20 years ago, didn't have a whole lot of pedigree. Obviously, in motorcycle racing, well, certainly Spain at least have been a Goliath of that category for many years, and that's only exaggerated as years gone by. But no, in car racing, no, it's super impressive. Great to see. Like, yeah, these nations. Netherlands is another one of them. A huge kind of sim racing backing.
Yeah, the Benelux region, another, you say, really high one. Germany, obviously Switzerland and Austria combined in with them. Bit disappointed by those guys. They weren't as high. I thought they would be much, you know, high. Like you talk about that pedigree of, you know, and historical participation in motorsport. You know, the Germans have always been up there. You know, they've got obviously Nürburgring, one of the most, if not the most iconic circuits in world motorsport. Obviously, the Nordschleife, talking about. You know, and then of course, you know, within pretty much every sim, you've got then Hockenheim, Oschersleben, just recently joined iRacing. Very highly underused. That bit of a shame because it's quite a good circuit, that, in my opinion. Where else have I missed off, Sam?
Well, obviously you've got Michael Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel representing them as drivers. So no, it is a big surprise that yeah, there isn't more enthusiasm for it. By the way, there is currently a protest submitted from RD Simsport to Obsidian Racing Future. That is our top 2 in the LMDH category. Now, I am not sure what the details of that penalty are, but it is being investigated, as we got a Lamborghini in the track. But yeah, could potentially be a change if RD Simsport, or apologies, if Obsidian Racing do get a penalty. Wesley, true. That was close.
That was the second-class Tempest.
Oh, that was over ambitious. Oh, was that the... No, was that the leader?
No, it wasn't.
So.
That was the Penguin LMDH, wasn't it? Just.
I think it was third place, Blake Reynolds.
No, apologies, that was 2Pi, wasn't it? Just coming through.
Oh, okay.
Apologies about that one. They've got slightly similar liveries, and that's what caught me out there, Sam.
Oh no, that's a lot of damage.
Oh,
he's got unlucky there. He's kind of hit that corner. It could say it's not driving true. The steering is not. It's not true.
I mean, this is where it's the whole thing of, do you just park it and 2Pi stern warning track limits on entering the pits? I mean, it's one of those things of it's worth, if you can, you know, there's not a lot of corners, just get it home.
Oh, he's going to be in the way here, though. Oh, he's got to just stop.
No.
Oh, I mean, if you're the LMDH in that scenario, I would have been going straight on. I'm seeing that car, and I'm thinking, that is not a corner that I want to go around on this lap. Fortunately, everyone's reacting well enough, and Wesley maybe will just tow back now. No? Or...
No, he's found a slip road, out the way.
Oh, okay, no, he is going to tow back. He's just trying to get as close to the pit lane as possible, so the towing time is as low as possible.
No, I don't think Sam.
No,
he's driving that
still
home.
going. He's still going.
See, some bit of a skate across the grass. Here we go. Wait for it. And there's the tarmac on the apron.
I think we're really weird as a species, but I think it's a universal thing that the idea of having like escape roads and stuff that you can drive around is such like a tantalizing idea. Like the idea that he could maybe get an escape road and get a shortcut back to the pits would just be so cool. I mean, I think it's quite unrealistic that he could just, you know, drive over some spectators in order to get into the paddock, but I still want that to be modelled. But he's going to make it, is Wesley. It would have been much faster for him just to tow back, but he's going to make it.
So here's the replay.
Oh, this is a different one. Well, Etherly.
Big. You could see he's got offline, unsettled on corner entry, and kept it out the wall though. Kept it out the wall. Of course, you're talking about the escape roads. You can see it there clearly. Bit of an issue out the back of the circuit because, of course, you do have there's a little tiny pond just out the back which might get in the way.
Oh yeah, it would need to be in an aqua car in order to deal with that. Quite confusing. We have the car number 33, which is Shane Norton. We have the car number 03, which is Penguin RC Simulation, and we have the car number 3, which is SMS Racing. Two of them are battling with one another. Fortunately, SMS Racing is a bit further back, but my heart did jump for a moment there when I thought Penguin RC had a problem, as Chip Witt has had an off for Wild Juice Racecraft. It's the number 2, but he's able to take that alternative layout to slightly sterilize the paint there.
It's got the ace of clubs on his card. Sure, that should be the 2 of clubs.
I want to
Number
see
2.
some tennis references, honestly, seeing now it's got juice. That's my main complaint there. But
New bills, please.
maybe he can, maybe he can get the number 1, perhaps. Maybe that's being protected a little bit. Number 40 at least. He's actually crapping. He's crapping significantly as Chip. At least it looked like from that angle, unless my eyes are deceiving me. Toupee Racing, no further action. So they were being investigated, I believe, for an unsafe pit entry, and I thought they may have got a penalty for that, but I think they were just being investigated for that. But no penalty for them. And Chip Witt is definitely crapping there. He needs to come into the pits, otherwise, or go to the beach, which are very near to the circuit, and join his fellow shelled animals.
When you're turning right to go left, I know it's the perennial,
Well, he's got the NASCAR set, hasn't he?
Well, true, I know it's the perennial Talladega meme, but yeah, that's not in a good way. Obsidian Racing Future.
Okay,
no
so
action for them.
RD Simsport reported Obsidian Racing Future. I'm not sure for what it was. But they have been cleared for that, as Austin Koopstad, who has had a much better time of it recently since that very tricky start to the stint. Remember, that car was battling for the lead earlier on. However, We Too Fast Racing, Jack Chrissy still in that car, as he has been from the start. He is very quick out there. In fact, was faster than the race leader that last time round. These guys now 2 minutes off. So Koopstad a fair bit off the pace, but if he can keep it clean, I still think he could get a top 8 out of this.
I think it's completely feasible, Sam, which is amazing, really, seeing as though they've been in the wars. I think it's a very nice way of putting it. Oh, 100 Force, they've made it past Longhorn for 3rd in LMP2, but they're incredibly close, those two. Likewise, SimHQ in LMDH, very close in their battle as well. Is this going to separate them up with the LMDH having through? Oh, no, slotting in, zipping in together ever so nicely there, those two. 171 or 78, 100 and Longhorn respectively. How does Longhorn play this? Lovely cheeky move into turn 1 to take it back from them. Here we go. Closing. Coming down through the slipstream, although the LMDH ahead of 100, just helping them out that little bit temporarily. Up the inside, in turn 1, no. Backs out of it, thinks against it. Still got plenty of racing to do. 1 out, 45, and well, a couple of minutes extra on top of that left here from Daytona in round 1 of the iRacing Team Endurance Championship, powered by CMS Racing.
This one, I'm not sure how hard these guys are fighting with one another. Jose Correa gaining significant time. Now, I thought Jose was actually ahead of these drivers earlier on, but he is behind them now. Well, okay, so obviously we have Back Pain and Ice Drain Racing Team. Can we have an acronym for that? BPEC? ES, sorry? BPES Racing Team.
BPES?
BPES? Yeah, well done, sir. BPES is what we're going to be referring to. Everyone watching, take a note of that now. BPES took that very short pit stop. They took 8 seconds less worth of fuel earlier on in the race in order to get themselves a little bit further up the order, because they don't need to take a full tank of fuel every time in order to pull off the 3 stop that they're making tonight. And so that's why they are there. So in reality, they're actually 8 seconds further back. They're actually battling with Penguin RC Simulation 7 seconds behind, because they are going to have to take more fuel later on. And then Sim Racing PR were with I think I think all these two have been fairly similarly matched since. Albeit actually Sim Racing PR did lose 1 second on that last lap. On this lap it seems to be a bit better though.
Does seems to be that way right now, but I tell you what, it's close again here. So just seeing BPS and 2 Pi right behind them. Heading through turn 1, and they've got one the LMDH is, oh no. They've had a driver change, haven't they? The last one. Robert Cocktail getting into the car for Wild Juice Racecraft. And it's, well, it's that corner again. If it's not turn 5, West Horseshoe, then it's turn 7. It's catching the drivers out. All by himself as well again, Sam. All by himself, as it seems to be. Oh, Porsche doing Porsche things there. Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't quite tight enough, and then when he had that slight oversteer, straightened up the car, and you can see that is a very deformed 911 nose on the front of that car. Should be, well, that car already had damage, didn't it? So they would have used their fast repair, I imagine, because their last pit stop wasn't especially long, 54 seconds.
No, so they were, when they came in, they were crabbing, weren't they? Majorly. Yeah. Because as they were coming round the banking, Sam, they were turning right. At this point on the track, the steering wheel was pointing in the right direction, about 45 degrees to the right. So, yeah, their fast repair has gone. Not what they would have hoped for. Certainly not.
Not many drivers dropping out so far, not many teams. In fact, I think everyone who started is still racing.
Correct,
36 cars started, 36 cars are still going. Which is amazing effort.
Well, we've had quite a few incidents as well. I think that one fast repair, it's a nice get out of jail free card. You know, you're going to have incidents where it's not your fault, and to be able to utilise that, and yes, you can lose a few places, but you know, you can just, yeah, as I say, that get off the jail free card, it really does help, and that's what enables, you know, to keep these fields going and not have so many retirements, which you do see in some other series, you know, real life and in Sim Racing. 100 Force being hunted down still by Longhorn 7/10, the gap between them. B-Pair still being hunted by 2 Pi Racing in GT3, 4/10 the gap between them. Now Longhorn will catch up in the slipstream, and they need to be careful here, Sam, because they're on the cusp of slipping out of slipstream range. Only more than 8 attempts and they'll be in trouble. Yeah, they do need to be careful. Just a little bit of traffic, and that might be enough for these two to split apart. And yeah, 3.5 tenths of a second faster, 4.5 tenths, apologies, faster on that last lap for Maynard. Might well be, if you can do one more of them, it might be enough to do it. And now Longhorn, are they able to get past before the left-hander? Yes, they are. So that's a good effort for Mark Johnson. But to your previous point about the fast repairs, I mean, I think it's always a question when it comes to these events. Do you have a fast repair? I remember there was a lot of controversy about VLN. Well, it's not called VLN anymore, but the Nürburgring Endurance Championship having a fast repair. I'm not sure if it still has it, but it was a debate about 5 years ago, and whether or not you should have it, because back at that time they were, and it seemed a bit unfair maybe for a car to bin it and then pretty much have no penalty, because they're able to just go back to the pits, maybe tow, because it's obviously the Nordschleife, but only lose a minute and still have a very strong result. Personally, I'm in the same boat as you, Tim, in terms of I like to see as many cars complete as possible, and especially in iRacing where you sometimes have damage which can't be fixed.
it's worth, particularly in the special events, in my opinion, maybe not in top split, but in the lower splits, to have a faster pair in order to, yeah, keep yourself going.
So I know your favourite event of the year, you know, Daytona 24-hour. It always gets about, certainly in the earlier time slots, you get around the 2-hour mark, especially when you're getting close towards, you know, if you've had a rough start, do you just abandon this race and go again in the next time slot? You do see, you know, the field does thin out dramatically. You lose, you know, around about 20% of the grid, whereas you can see, you know, at this stage, the race, we've had, as we mentioned, no retirements whatsoever, and seeing RD Simsport there, just clipping the wall a little bit on the entry into the bus stop. They're really pushing hard right now to catch up onto the back of Sim HQ, and see them dipping in and out of the traffic. They're just trying to get every little last bit of slipstream, trying to hoover it up. And I think they're looking aggressive for a move into turn 1. Are they going to do it? They've come down low. And this could be for a change.
Oh,
no. I think that might have been a bit of netcode that helped Sim HQ around there.
I must say, I honestly, it looked like RD Simsport had the right to go down the inside there, and if anything, maybe Mowbray closed in a little bit too much. I think it was netcode, but I think they were going to make contacts anyway. I think with the way that Mowbray just wasn't leaving a car's width on the inside. But then, of course, the stewards met it from a different angle. It might look like maybe he wasn't actually alongside, and the Sim HQ car absolutely had the right to move across. Fortunately, both cars are still clean, but Sikdar was lapping significantly faster. Let's see here, this will tell us a lot. So he's gone down the inside. Oh, if anything, actually Moby locked the brakes, locked the rear slightly, and actually was kind of swerving about a bit. So I don't know. It depends really what the stewards have to find earlier on, how aggressive you can be with overtakes, whether or not that's against the rules or not.
Penguin into the pits. Of course, we are, well, an hour and 20. We're not far off half race distance. We're only 10 minutes away from that, Sam. Where has the time gone? Having too much fun up here in the commentary booth, but yeah, that means pit window is well and truly open in LMDH, which means LMP2 is going to be, well, I was going to say, that's not really far away, of which we've got 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th of SimHQ 100, Longhorn, Blue Shell into the pits, the organisation Pro-Am, they're in too. Right, there we go. RD Simsport 2 and SimHQ Orange is under investigation, so, well, we've already had a bit of a look at it. We're undeciding. This means interested to see what the stewards come up with in that one. They're sure have plenty of, well, a lot more time to look at it at different angles and such like to examine exactly how that one played out. And where a Penguin going to come out not in an ideal position, Sam. It's the last thing you want, coming out on cold tyres. And you've got, what, 1, 2, 3, possibly 4. No, it's a LMP2 ahead of them, but yeah. You're on the infield section, and there's a lot of GT3s ahead of you.
My namesake, Sam Adams, has come into the car, and he has got a very nice iRacing, which is approximately my iRacing plus your iRacing plus about 300, aka 5.2k. Sam Adams. So I think, if anything, he might be the faster driver for Penguin, and considering that their slower driver has kept them in play for the race win so far tonight, that is quite ominous. So that is very positive, and that's why they've made that change, because now Sam is going to have 3 stints, well, two and a bit stints, rather than just the 2 stints. I imagine Rodriguez and Coveney are probably the fastest drivers in their team if they stay in that car, and it looks like they are staying in that car, as Rui Quiros, remember, he's in the race, leading by a country mile. He's, wow, is he? Well, he's pretty much a lap ahead. Obviously, a few of the other drivers have come in, or a few of the other teams have come to the pits. But Rui, I imagine, will stay in for 1 more stint and then hand over the car. No, he is getting out. So Felipe Silveira, who has an iRacing of 5.2k, which is still higher than everyone else in the LMP2 category, not quite as high as his teammate, but Felipe Silveira might be taking this one to the finish then. And RD Simsport then still ahead. It's pretty much not changed. Everyone had the same pit stop time out to the top 3. So no change in the DH lead battle.
No, we've got Pneumatic Motorsport and LMDH there into the pits. Likewise, Static Adrenaline, they are in 2. And it's going to be interesting when the Felipe Silveira Tempest comes out of the pits. See exactly what is the time difference between first and second in LMP2. I didn't quite clock when they came in exactly what the gap was, Sam. I mean, it was a little bit skewed anyway because the rest of the field had gone a lap earlier as well. Oh, if that's true, 1 minute 40.
So, who's the gap between?
The gap between... No, that can't be quite true. It's showing on our timing tab right now is 1 minute 40 between first and second.
Oh, no, yeah,
LMP2,
that'll
but
be
that's
like 40 seconds, I reckon.
Yes, they're about 4 tenths of a lap ahead of second place are Tempest, which is still a big old margin. It's about, it's just sorting itself out, balancing itself, about 45 seconds, there we go. Wow, I mean, in the last pit stop, Sam, it was 30 seconds, the gap between first and second. So they've pulled out an additional 13 seconds as Roqueiros across the last stint. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. The Iberians definitely looking good at this early stage for victory in LMP2. It's going to take an incident or two to knock them off that top perch.
We were told in the chat that they are a Portuguese team. So credit to Portugal, not just Iberia, but focusing on Portugal. Congratulations to them because they are, yeah, looking fairly unstoppable at this point.
Also home to one of my favourite pastries, Portuguese custard tart. Love those, Sam. Absolutely love them.
Portugal and custard, I don't always.
No, you need to get a Portuguese tart in your life. Available from Lidl and in their bakery section, as I've recommended you before.
Oh, come on, Tim. There's other places in this world than Lidl.
I was just about to say other bakeries and supermarket chains are available.
I had many a good holiday in Portugal as a child. Sea bass in particular, I was a big fan of. So, yep.
Never had the pleasure of going to Portugal.
I'm not sure if this is true. More beaches than any other country or something? But that can't be the case because you got places
it
like
makes a lot of sense because they do have a lot of coastline.
over 100.
Wow. Shame it's into the Atlantic, which is always, well, certainly in the UK, so freezing cold.
Yeah. Well, no, some of it's into the Mediterranean, isn't it? Or
yes,
is
very
it?
true.
No.
No.
Is it the bottom bit which gets overlapped, or the top bit? I'm not sure. Well,
No,
we'll look at that whilst we look at Vernon Road.
Well, yeah, this
He's
certainly
up
is
in
a
third
cold.
place, actually, for Bipez. He's made his way past Simrace PR and 2Pay Racing Team. On that last lap, I think, on that last lap, he was the one who got past Hernandez. So, yeah, up to third place, albeit it doesn't mean a whole lot because he might have the pace to break the draft. I'm not sure. It'll be close.
It will be close indeed. We've got Static Adrenaline and I was going to call it LMP1 then. No, Timothy, they have long. Oh, there's a crash there, Sam. I've just heard a big smack. Oh,
Ooh.
dear. That's wedged. Oh, that's not coming out. Although, if he could reverse it, he could unhook himself, but no, it's fully. Easily. Oh. So he's going for the move.
Car number 2, Wild Juice ahead of him.
Oh no, he got tapped! He got tapped on the other. Oh dear!
I think he lost it on the grass. I didn't think he got tapped. I think he lost it on the grass. So.
There was a big shunt.
What's that? That wasn't Penguin, was it? Behind him, the LMDH. Still trying to learn these liveries, but
yeah, because Penguin and I think it's 2Pi have got quite similar liveries that they've been catching me out all race long, Sam. So I'm not too sure which one it would have been, but we'll come back to you. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if we get that from the helicopter view, looking down to confirm if there was a bit of a assistance in sending them around, but this battle still rages on. A freeway battle over third place in GT3. A lot of threes going on there. Here we go. I'll produce John Robertson on the ball here. So, was there a tap? No, Sam Fitzpatrick. So it was 2Pi Racing behind them.
Oh, okay, cool.
But there was no assistance, Sam. You called it absolutely spot on. He touched the grass, and around he went, and, well, that's a write-off. And I think they've already used their fast repair as well, from memory, I think. Could be wrong.
Yeah, well, they were fairly far
back.
back. I reckon you're right. Yeah, because SMS had that issue at the bus stop earlier on, didn't they?
They did,
I
well
remember
remembered,
getting confused between the 3, the 33 and the 03.
Yes.
But it was, well, equally, so yeah, that might be the end of their day. There might be our first retirements of the day. And yeah, just David Anderson, the series organizer, letting us know in the chat that, yeah, the fast pair, all about getting as many drivers to the end as possible. It's a gentlemanly league. And so, yeah, just in the spirit of racing, we'll have as many competitors reaching the finish line in a strong result. And update on Portugal, it does not border the Mediterranean Sea because it's obviously it's west of the Strait of Gibraltar, which is where the Mediterranean Sea starts. So it's near, but it's not. It is the Atlantic Ocean.
I thought that's where officially the Mediterranean started, was the Strait of Gibraltar, but didn't want to fully convince of being a geography quite nerd and correcting you on it, Sam. There we go, officially confirmed. Still,
Tempest have fallen a fair bit behind RD, haven't they now? It's up to 6.7. Because Tempest were saving a lot of fuel earlier on, but since they've lost the draft, they've been losing about half a second a lap. It's not all over for them because they are going to have to take less fuel later on, but probably only by a second and a half. And so RD Simsport number 4 looking very strong for this race win right now, but they're going to have to change drivers. So
they are,
you know, and I think that will be at the next pit stop as well. So that one could still change for the race lead if there's a change in driver quality.
Talking of RD Simsport, Sam, RD Simsport 2 and LMDH, they're into the pits, likewise the Sim HQ Motorsport Orange. My best French accent there, even though the team aren't French.
Well, they speak French in
Canada,
in Luxembourg.
Very true.
I'm not entirely sure. Let's say. I think you do have Luxembourgish, but maybe Liechtenstein. They could be. There is Niels Tisters. Very nice place to rejoin the circuit because he's in that P8. Of course, these guys, RD Simsport 2 and also We2 Fast Racing, both crashed 10 minutes into this race, so that's why they are off kilter. They are going to need to make 2 more pit stops to get to the end of the race. So this isn't like a tactical advantage or anything. It's just a necessity after a setback earlier.
They're just, as you mentioned, 10 minutes out of sync with the rest of the field. Now, seeing RD Simsport 2 there, so they're only 8 tenths behind 2Pi, but RD have stopped. Well, they've both stopped 3 times, haven't they?
Sorry, I was interrupting you there, Tim. What were you saying?
No, I'd finished my point. I said they've both stopped 3 times now, so they're not out of, they're in sync. You know, they haven't got to, you know, it's not like we're just waiting for one to come in, i.e. being RD, and yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And Ledesma got back into that car then for 2Pay Racing Team, leg down. So that is probably going to improve their pace a little bit. 4.2k is Ledesma. His teammate was 1.2k. So obviously that's like I'm trying to correlate this with me and you again.
That's you. That's they've lost you. They've gained you.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a very good point. There you go. They've lost me. So, well, they've gained me now.
Yeah,
I'm back in the car.
You. Yes, you are.
Would you get this is hotting up nicely. I don't think we've built this one up too much. But first down to third in the LMDH category, this is very much a lie. Remember, Sam Adams is in that, as you got into that car in the last stint. His pace hasn't been quite as impressive as I thought he would be, because Coveney's iRating is 5.6, Rodriguez 3.7, Adams 5.2. So I sort of thought Obsidian might drop into the clutches of Penguin, but it hasn't been the case of it. This will not help. Look at that, how to get out of throttle so much. Yeah, so far, Adams hasn't made much of an impression, but we know that Adams is a solid driver, and we know he will be in that car to the end of the race. We don't know how quick RD Simsport and Obsidian Racing Future's second driver is. I mean, you would think they're almost certainly going to be slower than Coveney and Rodriguez. Seeing that Adams is similar pace to Coveney and Rodriguez, that indicates that Adams might well be the fastest driver out on circuit once the driver swaps are made in about a quarter of an hour, or about 25 minutes time. So Penguin just need to stay somewhere around that. I think they might be the fastest car come the end of the race.
That's interesting to see how that one pans out, isn't it, Sam? And I think we've sort of, you're saying about Rodriguez, being the weaker IR of iRacing of the top three in LMDH. I mean, hats off to him. He's holding his own here. He's, overperforming I think puts more of an injustice for the quality of the Iberian, Rodriguez, because he's not just, just about keeping up with them. He is keeping up with them. I mean, last time around, he was a tenth slower than Coveney. He was actually 1 second quicker than Adams last time around. Actually, no, transition that. They've all just come across the line. Times have updated, so Rodriguez did lose a bit of time. So he lost 4 seconds.
That traffic was unreal, wasn't it? Like, even
was
through the bus stop,
disgusting.
that was so bad.
Talk about catching it. But then, having said that as well, Adams will need to clear that same set of traffic.
Yeah.
But where will he catch them? That's the big question. I think he might have got a little bit more lucky. Just where applying a bit of knowledge of circuit and such like. I think he would have cut them mostly out onto the oval. So I think that's going to be an advantage to Adams there of Penguin. However, we have still got 1 hour and 25 minutes left, Sam. A lot could happen. That's longer than a European Sprint Series official race to go. We've got like 2 IMSA races left, nearly.
Yeah, it's a very long way to go. As RD have a momentary off, but looked like it was all fine for them. In fact, actually, the jersey. The reason why I say that is that on the timing chart on the left, you can see occasionally the numbers or the number backgrounds will flash red, and that means that they're off the circuit according to our system. It's not necessarily an off track, as Kottel is once again off the circuit. But you'll see going into the bus stop, pretty much every single lap, they'll go all 4 wheels off the track, and it will just flash red. But that's not necessarily a negative thing. They are limited to instants, by the way, in this series. So they are limited to 25 incidents. And if they get 50 incidents, they get DQ'd. I haven't seen anyone so far get a drive-through. But, 25's not that high. It's not too bad a track, this. On the exit of the bus stop, I guess, Tim, is going to be the place where you're going to be picking them up. But on the most part, they should be all right in terms of that incident.
Listen, it's a little bit different with endurance racing as well, because you play at that little, you drive it at 95% of your ability. It's about the long game, as we've alluded to numerous times. Interesting light choices there as well. The Sim Racing PR team have gone with the standard light pack, whereas 2Pi, the second of the 2 Lamborghinis there, has gone with the endurance light pack. So they've got the extra lights in the middle and at the bottom where the fog lights would be normally on the car.
Yeah, that's... you should be able to see a bit more, shouldn't they? And then they're not exactly going to be able to sneak than any drivers, though.
It's a bit disappointing as well, because when you're flashing the lights, it doesn't flash all of them, it still flashes the normal ones. So it's not like you've got this then extra beam of lights to flash with. And if anything, it makes it a little bit more like harder to spot, especially around Daytona where you've got the track lighting. They've lost a lot of time there to that Porsche.
That's J.R. Gregory for Flying Lion. I was hoping that it was going to be J.R. Trumpets, but it's not. And I think I can speak on behalf of all of us when I say that's very disappointing.
It is. It's not music to your ears, Sam.
I must say, Tim, usually your puns are awful, but I mean, these couple of musical ones are fairly good.
Average.
Music to my ears, shall I say.
Yes.
Hopefully this isn't your swan song.
I was going to say touche, should that be to pay? No,
he's ruined it.
I've ruined it.
No.
It's all gone wrong. Should have quit while I was ahead. There we go. There we go. And well, it's gutting this, because we had a really close three-way battle for third. Although back pain, eye strain have dropped into the pits, which has made the gap seem slightly bigger than what it really is. They've come in very early with back pain, haven't they?
Well, they underfueled, remember, by about 8 seconds in their in their first pit stop. So they're basically evening out these pit stops. So they will pit now probably about 2 hours 15 into the race. And so their final pit stop will probably be 25 minutes earlier than a lot of other drivers. It makes sense then, because then you can take tyres at every stop and not lose time. So it really does not make sense to take just fuel with 20 minutes to go, because then across the race you've had older tyres than other drivers.
Well, and also, when you come out of the pits, RD SimSports, stern warning, poor judgment, car control, and attempted to pass. That was on 1 hour 14.
We did see that one, however,
we did.
I have forgotten exactly what it was, but I remember it being a marginal one.
Yes.
Was it the one down into turn 1?
I was about to say exactly the same thing, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of agree with that one. I think that was a racing incident.
Bit of 6-1 after than the other. Just going back to that team strategy there, Sam. And as well, when they're coming out of the pits, they're coming out with a much lighter car compared to everyone that's going the full distance and, you know, putting on the maximum fuel, which is giving them more pace. So actually, across the first, you know, certainly up until that last stop, you know, coming into that sort of window, your pace across those stints should be better. And I mean, it's probably what's allowing them to be right up there. 2 Pi have close right up. I tell you what, Sim Racing PR have had clearly what must have been a bit of a tricky time. Oh, someone's carried straight on there at turn 7. It was one of the LMP2s. Was it RD SimSport? It looked like an RD SimSport livery LMP2.
I was looking away at the time, so unfortunately, let's see if there's anything on the event viewer.
Well, we've got Leonard Burke has come off track.
But I think it was Simpson, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm not seeing anyone stopping out on circuit.
No. Well, he did jump to the pits, I'm not too sure. Let's, wow, hold on, we've got a replace. Maybe this... it was a purple livery I saw. That's it. Oh, no. Well, that could have gone wrong for Static Adrenaline so much more.
I think that might be their race over as well, because they've already used their fast repair, I believe.
Now, this is probably where I saw. So, look, they've got the car going again. Are they going to pull it off into 7 here? Is that car undrivable? They've got the car back on the track. Decide it's undrivable. Yeah, there you go. There we go. That answers that question then. A rotten time for Static Adrenaline.
And once again, 2Pay will once again around that. I feel like 2Pay are the #1 team of being around incidents that we see on replays. They're constantly around the crashes. But to be fair, they're not usually at fault for them. but that they are like a magnet to it. You can see Fonseca maintaining the gap now. Gained a bunch of time on lap 53, but even besides lap 53, staying around the similar level. So remember, we're expecting Fonseca to be able to gain, or Tempest Simsport to be able to gain about a second and a half later on when they have to take less fuel, providing that maybe the BMW might have an advantage on fuel. I'm not entirely sure whether I think the BMW tank. I'm remembering the Z4 here. This is my poor knowledge. The Z4 had a smaller fuel tank, I think 115 liters. Not exactly sure how big the M4 tank is, but I think it's the standard 120 that they have.
Yes, 120.
So yeah, basically the point is that Tempest Simsport will be able to take a little bit less fuel later on, but they're maintaining that gap, and of course we are expecting a driver change for both of these two GT3 cars later on, as we're going to have a change for P3 to Pay Racing Team, being able to move past Sim Racing PR. Now that's not a particularly significant move, because they've sort of just been waiting behind for 20 minutes anyway to Pay, so they could have made that move a while back. But they've decided that they're done saving fuel, and now they want to be ahead and maybe pull away.
Yes, well, we've got the pit stops happening in GT3. Can-Am team brake fade in. It's the Audi team brake fade. Blind Blanchette, they're going to have a driver change. They've already had one though with Ryan getting into the car. Oh no, they're changing drivers. James Foster's getting on board for them.
Is that a third driver?
I believe it is. Zabolewski's got into the car for Can-Am, as we just see. Sim HQ carrying on there at the Rodriguez International Horseshoe.
They may have lost out. No, I think they were already behind Nicholas Maynard for 100 force, so they maintained that third position in class.
They have indeed. They have indeed. So we're gonna now just having a bit of a look around things. So as things stand in GT3, marginally above Sim Racers CMS, currently 9th and 10th in class. They are yet to pit. Likewise, first through to 6th in class, or yet to pit in GT3. Tupai and Sim Racing PR definitely going round again. You can definitely hear a bit of a lift and coast going on there. When that burbling V10 in the back of that Lamborghini Huracan GT3 goes silent, you know there's definitely... They're pulling in the clutch there to fuel save around this one, as we see the RD Simsport lead car of Archie Convey, our race leader coming through the field there. That gap is coming down slightly, isn't it, Sam?
I was about to say, it has come down a tiny bit, but I mean, it's so tricky to really take too much from that in terms of how quick a driver is, because like we saw, like Rodriguez lost 4 seconds due to some bad traffic, which on another lap he may have only lost half a second too. So yeah, not necessarily that Coveney is slower, but could be that he's slower, or could be that he's just got unlucky with a little bit of traffic. But yeah, let us know in chat who you think is going to win this race. I mean, we should mention as well Stats Light Racing as well. Alex Ellis in 4th position at the moment. I believe they have already made their driver swap in that car.
Yes, they have. They had Jesse Lyon.
Yeah, Jesse Lyon was in the car, so that will send them to the end of the race. They'll pick up any pieces, because S has been maintaining the gap himself. The top 4 really for a while have been very even pace. Even Cameron Barker, 5th place for CMSRacing.com, have been fairly similar so far.
Just having a bit of a look in and around right now, Sam. You say satellite, yeah, I mean, realistically, it's 17 seconds this stage of the race. Victory, I think that's a bit of out of their grasp as Imperial Motorsports and GT3 and the Audi there into the pit lane. I mean, there's still a chance at the podium. Nicking that one off Penguin, possibly even Obsidian, who aren't that much further forward. It's possible. It's challenging, but there's a chance for third for them. I think they
Boss
can't
up the
lead.
race now.
Well, there you go. Alex Ellis, definitely a man on the move. And it's one of the things that I remember hearing a fascinating interview. I believe, from memory, I think it was with Zach Brown, of course, owner of United Autosports. Those sports car fans running LMP2 and LMP3 in the World Endurance Championship, European Le Mans Series, and I believe they got outfits in the Asian Le Mans and the American Le Mans Series as well. But yeah, they're speaking about what they call net losses across a lap. So you have obviously your standard time if you don't have any traffic, but then how much a delta of how much you expect to lose from traffic, and trying not to lose any more than that, which obviously varies from track to track. Someone like Daytona, it's not too bad. It's a nice ride track, plenty of straights. Probably equivalent to like a Monza, really, to put a European equivalent. But certainly around a track that we're going to be visiting in this championship lane, seeing like Motegi, where it could be a little bit more tricky. You haven't got this bigger runs between corners. Certainly not this big swooping section we're seeing Ellis head through right now out onto the tri-oval. And I think that's where we're going to see. I don't know. Will it be closer times around somewhere like Motegi, or bigger time differences between the cars? Because obviously it's going to be potentially could be a bit of both. It could ebb. Certainly, I think it's going to ebb and flow a lot more, Sam, isn't it? Because you've got, you could lose massively in some laps, but then you could end up potentially gaining quite a bit on the next lap. So fascinating to see how that one plans out. That's not coming to much later in the season. Simrace GPR, they are only half a second between those two, as Ellis still picking his way through those. Definitely foot to the floor. And that gap he's bringing that gap down, Sam. It's down to 16 seconds. That was about 17 seconds not that long ago.
Yeah, I think they're going to be very strong towards the end of this one. Yeah, I think the race win, as you were saying before, is probably too much, but podium. I think one of the top three drivers, or one of the top three teams, would not be surprised at all if RD Simsport or Obsidian Racing maybe have a slightly compromised driver in their final stint, and we are getting fairly close, about 10 minutes away now from, maybe 5 to 10 minutes really, away from their third pit stops of this race. Once again, thanks to Penguin RC Simulation for supporting this series, and if you want to get yourself button boxes or wheel boxes, display devices which work with VRS, Fanatec, Simucube and several other manufacturers as well, do check out Penguin RC Simulation to upgrade your rig, as Tempest Sim Sports are into the pits. Now that's a surprise. João Magalhães is into the car now, and so they managed to go further than RD Sim Sport then.
Yes,
but they are now quite a far. Oh, that's a long pit stop. What's happened to Magalhães there? He had a 57-second pit stop. That's 15 seconds longer than normal.
That has a lot of time.
Yeah, I think that's ruled them out of contention for the race win, because Gabriel Gonçalves is in the RD Simsport 4 car now, and frustratingly is that Magalhães has actually got a higher I rating, so he had a decent chance at catching up, but yeah, they lost 15 seconds for some reason.
Matthew Wyckoff's had a bit of a issue out on track. So this Valhalla Motorsport Lamborghini currently running 13th in GT3. 31st overall, but yeah, that's a big old time difference, Sam. What is it? 16 seconds difference. Wow, that's really hurt them badly.
And just to confirm as well that Gonçalves took a full tank of fuel, so it's not as though Gonçalves took a short tank. He took the standard 42 seconds, which is what you need for full tank. And yeah, Magalhães much longer. I might have a look back in the replay to see what's happened.
Well, I'm wondering, Sam, has he had a bit of contact somewhere, or caught and they've just had a bit of optional repairs, and they've decided, right, okay, let's just this. You know, we still got a good chunk of the. Well, I say good chunk. We've got it's coming up to 2/3 race distance. I don't know where the last hour and 52 minutes has gone quite, but you know, it's one of those. Right, okay, it's going to cost us. It's hurting us, and clearly it must have been hurting him in a bit of pace as well. Let's get it repaired, done and dusted, and just keep pushing on because there's still a lot of racing to be done. A lot can happen in the next hour and 7 minutes.
I think you might be right. So strangely, they were up on the jacks, then they dropped down, did the fuel, and then went back up on the jacks for, I think it was probably about 15 seconds. So
that's about tyre time, isn't it?
But they'd already taken the tyres, so they went up on the jacks initially, seemingly to take tyres, then back down, and then back up again. So it could have been kind of damaged, but then they were... Oh, so... And I'm hearing the engine note as well. He was ready to go. Maybe it was a speeding penalty then. But that would be much more than 15 seconds.
Ooh, Sam, off the track there is Maurice Fianson. What's happened to him? Oh, big switch there into one. Locks up. Gets going again. Then there was already the LMP1 off track there of, I think it was Leonard Berg. It was indeed. Leonard Berg. What's going to happen to him? So down to the inside. Just going to carry straight on. Oh, there's too much speed in there. I can tell that one instantly. Oh, there's the wall. Oh, that's going to be damage. Side pod damage. Maybe a bit of front right suspension damage as well. Possibly bent steering column. Not too sure if that front right made contact, but goes from bad to worse for Static Adrenaline.
Yeah, they've... if they can get to the end of this race, that'd be impressive for Static Adrenaline. They did take 2 minutes and 30 in the pit lane fairly recently, about 10 minutes ago, and yeah, they may well need to return back to the pits after that. Anyone then from RD Simsport 4, who, apologies, Tempest Simsports, who knows what happened to Zhao Magalhaes, do let us know in the chat. It would be very interesting to find, because they did not speed on pit entry. I did check that one, so it was something else.
The only thing I can think of, because if it's a penalty, Sam, the car would not go up onto the tracks. It would stay on the ground, so it can't be penalty.
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
And also, I know sometimes I've had it a couple of times, not for a very long time, but an iRacing, where I've gone to move forward. If you stop, I think it's slightly far back in your box or something, and you go to move forward, the car sort of like stops again, and obviously where the car, you know, you've automatically got the tyres ticked to change at the next stop. And then it goes, oh, okay, I'm stopping again. And then car goes up onto the jacks and changes the tyres again. So it could be that. Could be. We've got a leader in GT3 into the pits to pay.
So they were racing with Back Pain and Ice Drain. Back Pain and Ice Drain took 32 seconds worth of fuel. Let's see what Toupee do here. It would make sense for them to take about a half tank. Take about 28 seconds worth of fuel so that they don't get penalised for the tyres. It doesn't make sense for them to go for a full tank unless they plan on not taking tyres at their last pit stop.
Sim Racing PR, I'll tell you what, they were fighting with Back Pain and Toupee for third. Yes. We had that three-way battle where there was, you know, not that much covering all of them. Worries me how that much longer that car is stationary for.
Well, Back Pain again took short fuel, and yeah, so Toupee had taken a full tank again, so they will be pitting in with about 10 minutes of this race to go, and so I guess won't be taking tyres at their last stop. They will take 10 seconds worth of fuel, and that will be enough for them. So that'll be an interesting one. That last 10 minutes, they're going to have much older tyres than the Back Pain and Ice Drain car.
But on the flip side of that one, Sam, the tyres will already be up to temperature.
They will be, yeah.
So, you know, the car's already warm. You've got, you know, light fuel as well, so less, you know, it's not so much strain on the tyres as, you know, providing they bring those tyres in. This is part of the new damage mile and tyre model in GT3. So if they bring those tyres in comfortably, nicely, then I think they should be okay. But if they go a bit too aggressive, which can be a bit of a challenge where you have to go offline and such like in multi-class racing, it could hurt them. It's fascinating how that one's going to play out. I'm really looking forward to it. That last hour is definitely not going to be one to miss, and we were only 2 minutes away from it as 100 Force in from second in LMP2, and that's their force off for the day. So they are massively out of sync, aren't they? Of course. And well, Tempest, it's going to be interesting to see what the gap is between them and second place, which is looking like at the moment it's long haul.
Yeah, it's going to be 1 minute and 12, isn't it? I think that's Longhorn our second position. So, yep, that is the gap at the moment. Blue Shell also coming in for their pit stop. So 100 Force will be a comfortable 4th position when they leave their pit stall. I think they are pretty much done with that one. So transiting down the pit lane again to get back out there. CMSRacing.com. Also coming into the pit lane, they were in 5th place. So both Ellis and Barker, Satellite Racing and CMS Racing, putting in some very strong times recently. And they have got one more stop to go after this one then. Top 3 imminently in. RD Simsport, Obsidian Racing Future and Penguin RC Simulation. All of those drivers will be in probably lap 78. They're going 26 laps per stint, so probably 78 we will see them in. So next time round. No, Sam Adams for Penguin RC, I think he's been going so far, so he's used a little bit of extra fuel. There you go, he is into the pits then. He will undoubtedly stay in the car. Excellent stint there for Adams, and he's just waiting now for the RD Simsport and Obsidian Racing teams to change their drivers, and that will hopefully be the point in the race where he can start gaining on.
RD, I mean, they haven't really, surprisingly for myself, they haven't really got away from Obsidian like I was expecting. That gap's still around, it's been bumbling around low to mid 6 seconds depending on traffic for, well, the last couple of stints. They just haven't got away like I would expect them to. Bit surprising, really. And especially, I mean, Archie Coveney was incredibly quick in the opening stints, but was in and around, they dropped as low as 4th or 5th in the early stages. So we've got Tupai from LDH into the pits, likewise SimHQ and Longhorn. But, I mean,
Archie into
really well.
the pits? No, basically he's just lost about a second, I think, in the bus stop. I was just seeing the gap very quickly going down. I was a bit concerned for a moment there. RD Simsport, I think just held up during the bus stop. But yeah, they will both be in on this lap. But yeah, I mean, back to your point about the gap. Yeah, they haven't been able to jump, but to be fair, Obsidian Racing for most of this race have been even. RD managed to pull away a little bit earlier on, but bar that, Obsidian have been a match for them. And shouts out as well to another one of the sponsors for this series, SimRace 24/7. And if you want to get all the latest news from the sim racing world, check out SimRace 24/7, who write articles about iRacing and ACC and R Factor and all the different sims, PC and consoles, covering absolutely everything is in the development of games, but also events as well. So do check out SimRace 24/7, and thanks to them for sponsoring this series.
This lap, Sam, surely they've got to be in. Surely they have.
Yes,
No, they're good.
78.
I'm sorry. I'm speaking before I fully clarify my point here. I'm looking at Tempest. They still yet to stop in LMP2.
Yeah, they pushed it further than pretty much everyone else, haven't they? Yeah.
I know they've done it in each stint, but they seem to have gone even further this time around.
Well, yeah, we've been hearing them fuel save, haven't we? I don't know why. I mean, they can if they want, but yeah, They're fuel saving fairly unnecessarily. It's worked for them. As yeah, the top two are now into the pits. SimSport and Obsidian.
They are yet to stop some, but as things stand at the moment, so it's slightly skewed, but they are a full lap ahead of second place at the 2 hour mark. Now, yes, they are yet to stop, so they will lose that difference, but I mean, they're still going to be, what, after the round of pit stops, 3/4 of a lap ahead? First, second, as you mentioned, in.
No driver swaps at the moment. No, here we go. Is that a driver swap? Okay,
Yes,
so
it is.
Rafael
Brilliant.
Munoz is into the Obsidian racing car, but Oscar Coveney is staying in the RD SimSport. Now, am I missing something? Coveney did start this race, right?
Sam, he did indeed. He did indeed. He's done every single lap till now in them.
No,
And
sorry. Oh, sorry, it was Archie. Now it's Oscar.
Oh, yes,
No.
well spotted. Well spotted
Okay.
there, Sam. I
Okay.
was just doing the usual, just looking at the surnames, and yeah.
I want the mother of Archie and Oscar to tell them off for confusing us. It's a hard job being a commentator, and when you got the same surname, it makes it even harder. So we have now got the brothers in, and well, a bit of pressure now on Oscar because maybe Archie will. Archie's done a great job, and so Oscar's got to take it home. And then of course we have got Munoz in that car as well. So interestingly, Coveney.
Right,
3.4k. So over, basically, they've lost you, Tim. They've lost you from that car. Munoz, though, 5k. So Munoz has got a much higher I rating than his teammate. So I think Munoz should be
Right.
fairly sorted in that second position. It's Coveney now with the lowest I rating in the top 4 positions.
6.5 seconds is the gap. Just make a little mental note of that. We've got 55 minutes of remaining us all. By having another moment there. Austin Custer back in the car for them. It's down to turn 1 and waiting. There's a lot of real estate and track to your left, driver's left there, Austin. You might have been better just doing a U-turn around that way. Don't go yet. Don't
so
go yet.
nervous.
Or waited for eternity. Yeah, doing the right thing to try and find a gap in the traffic, and then I thought he was going to get moving when there's a car impeding. I think it was an LMP2, wasn't it? Impeding right down on him, but no, we're all okay. He's back up and running, is the American, so that's okay. Sorted.
There's 55 minutes then left of the race, and in terms of pit stops, then we are expecting everyone to make one more pit stop. It's very much, which makes it nice and easy for all of you viewers. Everyone's got to pit. No one's really got an advantage out there. I mean, I guess, yeah, even Tempest have now pitted. Even Tempest pitted on that last lap, so they've come in as this is a battle for 4th position. Longhorn Racing versus Blue Shell Racing. This is 4th position. This is absolutely legitimate fight here, and it looks like Blue Shell, Dick Muller, is going to move past. Really nice move there from the 19. He has got a lot of traffic though to deal with now right in front of him, but he gained a second on Brett Stevens that last time round. I think Muller was already in that car. I'm not sure if Stevens was, so maybe there's been a change recently in that, and well, to be fair, they have been in the cars for 10 laps already, so it's not exactly a recent change, but yeah, certainly at the moment looks like Muller's got the more pace.
He has. They had Nick Kuhn in the car beforehand. Blue Shell Racing.
Are you remembering all these, Tim, off the top of your head, or are you looking in sim to see this?
Off the top of my head, of course.
That's impressive.
On that bombshell, should we have a chat to one of our drivers, now joined by Thomas Fisher of CMS Racing in the 79 machine in LMP. Sorry, I was going to say LMP2. So used to that being the top class in most sports cars, LMDH. Thomas, welcome along. It's been a bit of a challenge for you guys out there.
Ooh.
Wow.
Did you see that, Thomas?
I did not. What just happened?
You nearly crashed down a straight with another LMP with a PT.
Oh, did we? Did we? Wonderful. Oh, God. Oh, dear God. Oh.
But you're fine. You're fine. No
We're
doubt.
you're
good?
okay.
All right. Oh, I just witnessed that. Okay, I have a feeling I'm going to get screamed at when we get back. Ooh, David Anderson will not be loving that one.
No, I was just about to say, it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy race for you. I think that just exemplifies the point, really. How you're feeling. I mean, you're at 3 places in class, so I mean that's progress. You've got to take a positive from that, surely.
Honestly, not really. I'm quite, obviously up to in my own performance. The start of the race was certainly disappointing. Qualifying as well. Cameron's the qualifier. I'm the racer, and it ended up being that I was one doing the qualifying. So, I was not a very good lap from me. And unfortunately, we started 8th. And then from then on, first lap, cold tires, understeered, got to slow down, and then got caught up in somebody else's accident. So, I guess the main positive that we can see as we're moving through right now is that we are catching the leaders. Oh, sorry, we were catching the leaders. Cameron had a bit of a moment a little bit earlier on, but when we came out of the pits, we were about a minute and 20 seconds behind, and I got out of the car 40 seconds behind them. So, it's a little bit, there's a positive in that we know that we can be fast, we know that we can win these races, but obviously bitterly disappointing that we're not in a position to do so.
Looked like you guys lost about 10 seconds in that last pit stop. You know what happened there? It was a 42-second stationary.
Yes. How to explain it? Cameron ran out of fuel and then missed the box.
Ah, okay.
So we had to push back to the box. Which was, we got it so that he hit pit lane with half a liter of fuel, and then by the time we got to the box, he'd run out, and he applied the brakes a little bit too late, and yeah, we sort of had a bit of a panic for a second. Luckily, it only cost us 10-15 seconds to get the car back in position. But yeah, it was certainly an interesting one, to be sure.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely added a bit more spice to the dish. So, in terms of aspirations for this season, obviously you're mentioning about how you feel like you've got a bit of pace there potentially to win this one. Yeah, if things had have gone your way, I'm guessing then, you're aiming to try and win the championship across the season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Cameron and I, we both know that we can do it. We're coming off the back of a championship win, a pretty high-profile series last year. So we know that working together, we are a very strong, dynamic duo, and we can get there. It's just a case of we both struggled to get on top initially of the LMDH. It wasn't quite as much of a smooth transition as we wanted it to be. We found our rhythm now in it, and it's just a case of fine-tuning out those mistakes. So by the end of the season, the championship is definitely what we're aiming for. Of course, very high caliber field here at the front. You saw in qualifying, the top 8 were separated by less than half a second. So it's extremely sharp at the pointy end, and so the only thing we can do is keep our heads down and try everything we can. There's some very strong competition out here, but we also have to start getting our setups right.
Definitely. Right, well, Thomas, we'll let you get back to the rest of the race, and well, good luck for the rest of it.
Cheers. All right, I'll enjoy the race, guys.
Definitely. Sam, we've spoken for the round of pit stops. Well, just after it in LMDH, how it was 6.5 seconds between RD Simsport and Obsidian. Well, that 6-second part has gone. It's now pretty much half a second. And Rafael Munoz is bearing down heavily on Oscar Convey. Well, this is on board with the Iberian. Here we go. It's not if, but when.
Yeah, absolutely. Coveney really slow in the first couple of laps. He has improved his pace since. He's now into the 32s, but his first few laps were a long way off. So maybe shaking off the cobwebs, maybe a bit of unlucky traffic. But that lead, that bubble or cushion that his brother built up for him, unfortunately has been decimated, and this is now a straight fight. And Obsidian Racing look significantly faster. 1.6k difference in iRacing. There's a Tim in the difference between the level of these two drivers, at least in terms of iRacing. We know that's not absolutely categorical, but it's an indication at least. And so this is looking very good right now for Obsidian. He does need to make this move nice and quickly though, because of course Penguin RC
Sam.
Simulation are catching just as quick.
Well, it looks like very, very close to picking up it off track. Maybe even a slowdown for Obsidian coming out of the bus stop. He was cutting it incredibly fine, was Munoz. But I think he's, well, clearly must have got away with it because he's definitely not burning it off whatsoever at all. This gets a bit of a scary moment. A blink there from Coveney. It always gets a bit tricky, doesn't it, when you're bearing down on someone so quickly. You want to get the move done, but if they start blinking, it just adds that bit of nervousness, that bit of doubt into the equation. They come past the 911 Porsche of marginally above average sim racers. Yeah, that's not one of these an acronym. Mass.
Yeah. Good shout on that one.
Scott Kessel. He's got into the car for them recently. Well, where does he go for this? We've got, what, 46.5 minutes left of this race. So we've got an IMSA official. He can just sit behind with him and just toy with him, just play with him. But as you say, Penguin are catching. Sam Adams is motoring.
And Alex Ellis as well for Sats Light Racing. We know how quick Ellis is. And so he's catching these guys quickly as well. He's the fastest man on track, has been for the last half an hour or so. I mean, it'd be hugely disappointing for RD Simsport if they ended up 4th. But honestly, if the gaps keep on coming down as they are, that's going to be the position that they finish. But credit to Coveney, he is upping his pace. A couple of 32s recently. Let's see what the lap time is this time. I think it's going to be another 32 because they did have to deal with some traffic. Yeah, it's a 32.5. That seems to pretty much be his peak, which is about a second off the absolute ultimate times that we've seen earlier on in this race. So Obsidian so far unable to get past, but all they need is that little bit of traffic to help them out, or if anything, a lack of traffic is probably their best bet, and I think that we are going to have that. So yeah, needs to dip into the slipstream, and turn 1 on the next lap could be where we see the first change of lead for, what, about an hour and a half?
Well, because this is the thing, based on pace, if Oscar comes out of the car at the next stint,
I don't think he'll be allowed to though because of the fair share. I don't know what the rules are quite in this series. I think on iRacing you'd get away with that, but I wonder if they have to run 2 stints.
I'm trying to have a bit of a flick through some of the rules right now, Sam, to see if I can pick that
yeah,
one
that's a good answer. Rather than me just questioning stuff.
Yes, so a fair share is computed at 25%, 1/4.
Yes, that's more than 1 stint, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, here we go. That's going to be a change for the lead. You just let him go. RD Simsport just let them go. Lifted off on the... Oh, or was it a slowdown? Oh, it must have been a slowdown. Yeah. I didn't think he pushed it too hard, but I think he did flash red. And so that was a slowdown for RD Simsport, and the lead has changed. And now Oscar Coveney is the chaser, albeit he is still being chased because he's got Sam Adams closing in 3.8 seconds behind.
Yes, I'll be honest with you, Sam, I did miss that one where I got my head buried deep in the rule book, so...
No, you were doing the hard work.
Well,
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just a slowdown. Cut the corner too much.
It's gutting for RD, you know, when they've been so commanding for so long. But I tell you what, Munoz is really pushing hard, and that's the thing. He needed to get that move done early because otherwise, I mean, you run the risk of Penguin as that's another issue for Toupe Cupstead for around then, because of, you know, as you say, Adams is catching fast up onto the back of Coveney. 4 attempts last time around, and they cut the timing being this time. We'll get another update. There you go, you can see. So Coveney was slower on lap 82 by a second. He was slower on lap 83 by 2 tenths, half a second, nearly 6 tenths on lap 84. Nearest damn it, equal times on lap 85. What is it going to be on lap 86? We'll get to find out very, very shortly, but I get the feeling that Coveney is going to be... Yeah, well, I can see those times dropping. I think it's going to be about another 3-4 attempts quicker this time around. Wait for that to update. And, oh, well, he must have had his time deleted per se, because it's not showing for Covenant.
Yeah, maybe he didn't serve the previous lap slowdown quick enough, so it got invalidated.
Yes,
I can only
that would be
imagine.
right. Yes, that would be right there, wouldn't Sam? Well spotted there. Well spotted. But yep.
That's a tip from a man who has done that too many times.
Yes. Which, in all fairness, I should have realised myself based on that logic. But yeah, I mean, well, Obsidian losing a bit of time in traffic, so the gap had gone out to nearly 3 seconds. It's dropped. He's lost a second, Munoz, in the traffic somewhere. He's coming down again. Look, he's losing even more time. Just trying to see where he would be, what he's coming up against. It's got to be, I think it's LMP2s rather than, which is odd because it's normally, with the pace differential between LMP2 and LMDH, it's not, you know, they're around certain parts of the traffic, there's not too much of a difference. Well, he's caught the Blue Shell car there at a very, very convenient time. Let's not really lose any time there, but this isn't quite done and dusted from Obsidian.
I mean, no disrespect to Oscar, but I don't think he's got the pace to win this race now. I think Penguin RC have got an excellent chance though, sitting only 5 seconds off the race lead. It's frustrating for Stats Like Racing. They will be close. I would be surprised if Stats Like Racing don't finish within 10 seconds of the lead. And honestly, I think RZ Simsport will finish 4th in this race. I think Stats Like are going to catch them by the end of the race access, really matching Sam Adams' times.
See, I'm not sure, Sam, because it's, I mean, 12, what, you know, some 14-second gap they've got to lose in, what is, you know, nearest down at 40 minutes. That's a lot of time to bleed. And I don't, for me, Oscar Coveney, I think he's going to have enough pace just in the bank to hold on to that one. I think 3rd is going to be realistic. I think Penguin are going to catch them, you know, within the next 20 minutes, I would say. Possibly even 10 to 15, as that is Road of BPES, as we've renamed them. Back pain and eye strain.
You may well be right, because to be fair to Oscar, he has significantly improved his times. It was just his first like 3 laps where he lost 5 seconds in 3 or 4 laps, which have really undone him in this race. Sam Adams didn't look totally in control there, but absolutely aced it. And actually Obsidian as well, just losing a bit more time in the bus stop. Yeah, it wasn't a clean run for them. And there's no cars now between Obsidian and RD Simsports. So looking good. Quicker, there's not too much going on elsewhere out on circuit. A little bit of a battle between Team Breakfade and Can-Am Racing. But besides that, there's no other races for position within a second of one another. I will just point out, though, keep an eye on the battle for 3rd. No, yeah, keep an eye out for the battle for 3rd place in GT3. Because back pain and eye strain have just come into the pits. Vincent March now in the car, and he will be running to the end of the race. Only 2.2k, however, Vincent March. They were in 3rd position, and now Sim Racing PR and 2Pay Racing Team will move up to 3rd and 4th. So keep an eye out for that one. That could be tight by the end of the race, because of course back pain and eye strain have been taking less fuel at each stop. And so whilst they had a 10-second advantage, they did have to take more fuel at their last pit stop than what the other guys will have to do. So basically P3 in GT3, keep an eye out for that one. That will be close.
Just having a bit of a look. Just retirement-wise, we've only had the one retirement so far, which was SMS Racing. That was the BMW with Will Eafery, in the car. Obviously, that big connection with the wall. They'd already used their fast repair, so I think we called it at the time it was going to be inevitable. That was probably going to be a retirement. That's definitely happened. So that's our one and only retirement of the race. Of course, the organisation in LMDH and Sim Republic SR2 and the Audi GRT3 did not make the start. So, true retirement.
Oh, Obsidian are off. No, they're all right. No, they are off. They are off.
They are
Oh,
off.
I see the red. And I thought I could hear tyres
Oh, there's a
squeaking,
GT3,
and they're
20.
collided with the 218 as well.
That.
Or was it Wycombe?
Yeah, was that
I
flying?
think it may have
Flying
been
Lion?
Valhalla Motorsport.
Let's
Here
have
it
a look.
was. Oh, so
mean-
they're already coming across them. He's down the inside. Oh, he's moved
Oh,
across on
no.
him. That's no one's fault other than Munoz, honestly. But from my perspective, he's completely unnecessarily moved across on the 218, and it's been disastrous. It was the flying line car of J.R. Gregory, who he collided with.
I know he was pushing hard because he'd lost a bit of time, Sam, but that's a risk surely you just don't need to be taking.
No. Yeah, because there's not much of an advantage as well taking the wide line there. I mean, it's just the way that the corner is. There's no need to do that. That's an unforced error, and I feel bad as well for Flying Line to be wiped out because they were having a competitive race with Valhalla and CMS.
I mean, the stewards will be looking at it, but I mean, I can only see that going one way personally. And I think it's going to be rub salt into the runes because now it looks like, well, they're going to finish 10th, I would say, from that damage, at least. I mean, we've still got 11 cars running.
Spare.
Well, that is a good question, Sam. That is a good question.
Yeah, if they've got the faster pair, they might still get 6th. 5th? 6th. Yeah, they might get 6th. If they don't have the faster pair, then it will be way down.
Because they can, time-wise, they can, probably by the time that the tows happened, fueled tyres, they could probably just about make this to the end without stopping again. So it's not quite all's not lost, but they are a lap down. See on the lead group. So what looked like RD since what we were saying, third, you predicting possibly a fourth. They have got Penguin catching them hard.
There's been quite an instant, apologies, for Theunison, Foster and Sabelski have all just crashed together, I think. And that is Theunison. I think there may have been 2 other cars involved in that one. Yeah, sorry for interrupting, Tim.
That's all right. With change of leads happening. Here we go, Sam. Here we go. Round the outside come Penguin on the banking. Trying to dip down, trying to get a bit of side draft here. That's not quite as easy. It's what you've won a first fought. They're going to have to do the hard yards around the outside, the long way round into turn 1. And I'll tell you what, RD's car seems to be better in a straight line compared to Penguins. Penguins just seem to lack that bit of top speed, but they're coming straight back at them. They're trying to get alongside drivers left here into the Rodriguez International Horseshoe. A look for the switchback maybe, but they're too much overlapping to try and make that one work. Yet again, Company shutting the door fully in Adams' face, not messing around whatsoever in defending it. They've had the lead come back to them, and, well, they don't want to lose this one at all. And Adams trying to find a way through.
And Satellite Racing, Alex Ellis will be... needs to make sure he still hits his apexes, but he'll be thinking, come on guys, come on, battle. If you do this for the next 20 minutes, then I might just have a chance in this race, which is not what they were thinking a few minutes ago, that they could get a race win. They were thinking podium at best, but it's a possibility now if these two tangle in any kind of way. Coveney with a 33.98 in that last lap, lost 0.7 of a second to Adams. There's no question who was the faster driver. This gap was up at about 10 seconds at the start of this stint, but how it has been decimated as we have progressed along. And the pole sitters, who lost the lead about half an hour into the race, remember, Penguin, might well be retaking it after all this time. This time round though, yeah, they aren't close enough, and I think that shout about RD having a lower drag setup is realistic, Tim. I think you might be onto something. That's not going to help.
It's not, is it? It's not. It's looking very, very unsettled, is that RD car. But again, Penguin going to have to do the hard yards right round the outside. And you can bet your bottom dollar he's going to squeeze him wide and shut the door in his face. Oscar Coveney is defending this with his life right now. giving it absolutely everything he got. He's throwing the kitchen sink, and Penguin trying to make it around the outside yet again. Trying to be last of the late breakers, can't make it work, can't make the cutback work. Well, they know that this is proving to be desperately hard for them. And it's interesting because RD have clearly set this car up of, look, if we can just about hold on in the infield, if it's set up low drag, they will not get past us, and there's a flash of the lights. They're clearly coming up on a back marker. Let's try and work out who that is. I think it might be one of the GT3s, potentially. Where are they going to catch them? Oh, it's a nasty place into the bus stop. They're going to get it done, but going to have a compromised line as they bumble across the curbs here. Penguin hot on their heels. And RD, well, they're going to maintain it. This is where you're going to get a true indication. So it directly in the draft stamp. So they're catching Penguin. They're catching. It's closing, but not at the rate of knots you would normally expect to see. And this is going to require Penguin to become creative, because you know RD are going to pull off every move. They're going to defend the inside line. They're going to force them wide yet again, make them do the hard yards right around the outside, and Penguin just can't make it stick. As Masters, just Sam Adams tries and tries his hardest.
That was really low grip. That turn one, it's so tricky to go on the outside there, because the inside of the circuit is level, but the outside of the circuit actually is off camber. It really slopes away significantly. It means that any attempts at move around there is very tricky. Also, of course, you've got a lot of marbles out there, which will be compromising the driver's grip as they catch the back marker. You gotta commit to this one. You cannot hold back here. And Coveney is able to make that move. And now the 171 getting a little bit in the way, doing absolutely nothing around as the P2. But the race leader was wide. RD had an opportunity to pull away there, but now Adams is right with him. Unfortunately for Adams, he wasn't able to stay in the slipstream long enough in order to build up some momentum, and he dips back in again, trying to build some momentum, but it's just not happening. And with that superior straight line speed it seems RD has, there's no way of getting past. Will they commit this one? Down the inside into the bus stop, they do. They both go for it. Good driving from the Lamborghini in order to avoid any issues, and RD nailed the bus stop as well, and they are still leading this race.
Clever multi-class tactics being played by Oscar Coveney there, utilising the back marker to box in Adams and prevent him from getting through, and in doing so he's got that gap up to 0.4 of a second, and Adams is driving the wheels off that BMW LMDH of Penguin RC simulation, and you can see how much more grip the car is set up for. The downforce it's got to work through turn one, where Coveney was struggling like mad. He has a bit of a look up the inside, can't get it done. Adams has to back out of it yet again. They've got more traffic on the horizon. 2 tenths is the gap. 1.5 tenths. It's a tenth as they come through the corners. It is as tight as you like. And again, Coveney defends that inside line, forcing Adams out wide. But all while this is going on, Sam, look at the gap back to Satellite Racing. It's now only 8.5 seconds, and Alex Essex, the Canadian, is catching them at a rapid rate of knots. We've got half an hour left on the clock, and your guess is as good as mine as how this is going to come up. This is building to crescendo. I think we're going to have a three-way fight on our hands, because these two are just tripping up over one another, where Coveney is defending. Adams is desperately trying to find a way past. Look, he just can't get to the inside line.
Here he goes. He's done it. Oh no, sorry, he's still having to wait behind. Apologies, the blinking confused me there. And but yeah, that was a nice run that time for Penguin to be able to dip in the slipstream as long as they could. This is an even better run. So this is their chance, because they can get the momentum during the slipstream, then pull to the outside. They'll have a slightly longer route to travel over the tri-oval, but he needs to outbrake him and be able to get back onto the inside of the circuit by the time that they turn into the corner. But he can't. Once he pulled alongside, they just leveled out. I think what Penguin are doing right here, I think is the only thing they can do. And I think eventually RD will make a mistake. Will run wide at a corner as they opposite lock there. But right now, all the mistakes that RD are making, they're when they have a quarter of a second advantage, and their mistakes, like that previous one, where, oh, he's absolutely sent it this time. Penguin up the inside, and that might be the lead move for Sam Adams, completely catching me unawares, catching Oscar Coveney unawares as well, and it's the move which might just define this race.
Wow. I don't know, Sam, because we know about this straight line speed that RD are clearly possessing. That gap is going to shrink massively. It's what Adams can do in the infield. He needs to ace it. He needs to break that gap. But you're going to watch, yet again, look, there we go. And it's also, let's not forget, it's that hybrid deployment. Who's got what? Who's got what up their sleeve? Because that's something we don't have. We don't have information of how much battery percentage that they've got. You know that Coveney surely is going to have burnt through a lot of it, but I'm not sure he has, because look, Adams would have burnt through a lot of it, but Coveney is not catching.
A lot of
Adams.
GT3 traffic coming up as well. They are almost certainly going to be dead level going onto the banking next time out, because they're going to be held up by these GT3s, and it's a roadblock they can't get past. The Porsche in the way, and now they're having to get on the brakes for the Lamborghini. And this allows RD to gain back that little bit of time that they lost. Now, can he get past this Audi before the kink? This would be a huge advantage potentially for Sam Adams, but I think Coveney's going to be able to get past where he's flashing the lights, and he is able to get past. He's not going to be able to send it like his rival did on the previous lap. And yeah, Penguin weren't able to pull away that lap, and Satsite now down to 6 seconds behind.
Let's take a look at this replay. So this is on board with Adams, of how he got the move done.
I mean, that was bold.
Oh,
that was good going from the BMW.
Wow, and he just caught him napping. He just went for it. And it needed something brave, it needed something bold from Adams, a Penguin, to get it done, because Coveney was just defending the inside. He got it down to a T, and where he just wasn't quite expecting it, Adams saw his chance. He saw half a chance, and then he took it massively. As you said, Sam, Satellite 6.5 seconds, and there you go. That's the gap. That is the slipstream's broke.
Yeah, that was big. I think that may have even been Goncalves, the RD Sim Sport 4 car, who was the car that they overtook when they that BMW, which was a little bit of a important factor in the end. And in the end, they didn't exactly help their. Oh, to be fair, it could have been a couple of other BMWs. Could have been Back Pain or Penguin RC. But yeah, either way. Yeah, they were able to get that race lead as Felipe Silveira comfortably the lead for Tempest Sim Sport in LMP2. They have come in for their final pit stop of this race. They are free to run now to the end of the event. The drivers behind them still need to take a pit stop. Everyone bar Justin Lamelli for 100 Force. 100 Force in 4th place will not need to pits again, but Blue Shell and Longhorn will need to.
Just trying to do a bit of maths here, Sam, so bear with me while I think aloud on this one. LMDH needs to stop again. They're going to need to stop again near the end of the race. So
who was this, sorry?
Well, the LMDH class.
RD. Oh, everyone needs to fit in the LMDH class.
Yeah. And it's, for me, it's, okay, who's done what? RD have just taken a massive amount of time out of Penguin.
Yeah, what's happened to
massive
Penguin?
Amount.
They're alongside almost. I think it was just being held up by a Lamborghini, and we are going to have a change for the lead again. RD storm ahead.
Oh, he's got it done. Look at that. That is spectacular. He's got the absolute run on Adams, and Adams can do nothing about it. And we've seen this. There's flashing lights for Coveney once again to try and just tell the traffic, look, we're coming. We are battling for the lead here. And oh, they're going to get held up by the Valhalla Lamborghini. They're going to go left, they're going to go right. But yet again, Coveney boxes in Adams. It's, wow, just classic multi-car endurance style. Game on again, up the front, 6.5 seconds to Satellite behind. They're catching, that gap for them is shrunk by, what, half a second, 6/10 of a second on this last lap alone, where it had expanded out a bit once again.
Oh, he's gone for it again, and he's going to slide across. Is he going to take him out? No, he's not. Penguin RC with a mistake, Sam Adams. And where are the P3? There is Alex Ellis. He is not going to move past because Penguin have recovered it. That is not race over. But any one of these top three could now win this race. RD Sim Sport leading the way, and they have restored that gap that Oscar Coveney initially lost straight out to the pits. And it's a chasing game for Penguin RC Simulation and for Satellite Racing to win this race.
So that is Cameron Barker for CMS Pro race, CMSRacing.com Pro. Got it. Right words, wrong order. Got there in the end. We spoke to his teammate Thomas Fisher earlier on, and well, how's this going to play out in this pit stop? Everyone needs to ace their pit stop. Who doesn't could lose a lot of time. And for Penguin, what helped was Alex Ellis of Satellite was held up behind a Lamborghini in GT3. And that is what prevented them from getting ahead. Satellite are into the pits. Okay, right, so that's one ticked off the list.
Well, good news for RD is that they went further on their previous stop, so they should need to take less fuel at their next pit stop. Which may not matter anyway, because I'm not sure if they're going to take tyres. Let's see if this one goes up on the jacks.
Yes.
It is. Okay, so they are still going to take tyres. So I think they're going to be tyre limited rather than fuel limited. Let's see if it pulls away immediately after the tyres, or whether they have to stay stationary for a bit of fuel. Nah, they do still need to take a bit of fuel over the top of the tyres.
Okay. Okay, so that's not much though, Sam. Not that much. That's probably what, about 4 or 5 seconds tops.
Yeah, well, when it comes to Coveney, I think we may well see him get off the jacks and immediately leave, because he's going to have to fuel up for 3 less laps than Ellis. Oh, Ellis as well with so much GT3 traffic. That's not worked for him. He needed everything he could get, and that is not the exit he was looking forward to.
No, he's just trying to squeeze it around the outside. He is on cold tyres. That's not going to help him whatsoever. He's cleared 2 of them. Next up is the Porsche. Well, okay, that's dispatched with incredible ease. He's 42 seconds down the road from Penguin, but Penguin and RD yet to stop. Likewise, so Pneumatic that is behind them, albeit they are, 16 seconds down the road from Satellite, they are yet to stop. So there's Penguin, they are in. How much longer can RD go? Oh, wow, a big lockup. Adams, full commitment into the pit lane. Right. Right, we're going to know within the next 4 or 5 minutes a big part of the story of how this is going to play out in LMDH and the overall win of who's going to get it. So we've got a replay. What's happened? This is Adams into the pits. Oh, he'd left nothing on the table there, Sam. And stopped it perfectly.
Yeah, he actually went below the limiter, I think, a fair amount. Stationary for a while. No, maybe he did get a penalty because he's stationary for absolutely ages. Alex Ellis is going to move up into 2nd position. I think Adams has sped on pit entry because he's stationary for 12 seconds longer and more and more and more than he should have been. Penguin, what an opportunity to take the first race win of the season. But Sam Adams, unfortunately, has made 2 mistakes which have cost them.
Oh no, it's all gone wrong for Penguin. It's almost like you get to the lead in this race, Sam. We saw it earlier with Obsidian, and it just falls apart for you. RD, obviously, as you mentioned earlier, they lost that 4.5 second. Obsidian got ahead. We're pushing harder than what a lot of people might argue than they really needed to. Sassel, RD then retake it, the lead. Penguin then get ahead of them. They then throw it away, and now they've doubly thrown it away. Where are RD going to come out? I mean, they know that they can maybe ease off a little bit, just manage this traffic a little bit better. There is Adams. Oh, Sam. And he's nearly a lap down as well now. That is how much it's cost him.
I'm confused because Adams didn't speed on pit entry. Like we kind of saw it initially, but I did just go back and check. He was below the speed limiter all the way. So it must have been something else they did. But what could he have done? Like, you can't break the pit. No, because that would have just been a drive-through. Wouldn't have been a penalty, like a stationary thing. Let us know on the chat. Someone's got to know. Because yeah, that was but it was 40 seconds, which is usually what a speeding penalty is, I think. It couldn't have been an unsafe pit entry. I don't think you can get that here.
No, I don't think you can either. I don't think you can.
And Chavez into the pits. The GT3s just need to take a splash of fuel. They probably won't be taking tyres. Goncalves has the choice. He will be leading either way. By the way, a decent battle been going on between Back Pain and Eye Strain and Penguin RC. I think both of them have both got their pit stops sorted. Penguin RC might be pushing it a bit. That's about for 5th and 6th going on at the moment. As Oscar Coveney for RZ Simsport, he is into the pits. Everything needs to go according to plan here. We're expecting about a 16 or 17 second pit stop. He's not taking tyres though. He's not taking tyres, Tim.
Ooh.
So
What-
he's going to be on older tyres because I think they... I'm not sure why they're doing that because they could have taken tyres through no
Yeah.
penalty. It was
Well,
17 seconds. We know that the tyres only take 15 or 16 seconds.
The thing is,
So-
Sam, they've got such a margin that it's just not surely a risk worth taking.
Well,
Surely
well
just
it's
change
only
them.
a 5-second margin though, isn't it? Either way. Well, now it's going to be 8 seconds. But they were going to get the tyres done anyway, regardless of the fuel. I don't understand that.
And for how hard that they have been racing across that last stint with Penguin, it was worth. I mean, those tyres have not been managed very well. Where they're having to race so hard, it's protection. Maybe they feel that even with the, you know, I mean, Satellite being on the fresher tyres versus, you know, themselves, RD being on older tyres, the net loss won't be as much as the, you know, 10 seconds change that they've got between them. We've got 16 minutes left, Sam. They need to make up about... Satellite need to be 8 tenths quicker per lap, approximately,
Yeah.
across every single lap.
It's just strange for RD because I don't see any negatives. I mean, maybe I'm missing something about the LMDH. Maybe it's a case that actually maybe some scrub tyres are faster than some new tyres. But there's literally no time penalty taking tyres. I mean, the tyres would have been done before the fuel was in the car. So, like, there's no penalty in that regard. And so, yeah, I don't understand why they've taken that decision. So, yeah, this is going to be fun, though. 10 seconds to gain, as you say. 8 tenths of a second the lap they need. RD Simsport back to the lead of the GT3s. Tempest, that seemed to be a bit of an odd angle, but I think that was all good for them. Only 16.75 seconds stationary, very short pit stop for them. Still got Two-Pay Racing Team to come into the pits. Now, of course, Magalhaes was a comfortable P2 anyway, so we don't need to worry too much about that one. Interestingly, Sim Racing PR were battling with Back Pain and Eye Strain earlier on in the race, but they are now well clear. They're 23 seconds clear now. So that's not a battle. So Back Pain and Eye Strain, who were up in 3rd place, we knew they were going to have to take more fuel at their last pit stop. And try and figure out... So yeah, that's sort of the difference. So they were 10 seconds ahead. They're now 23 seconds behind. So pretty much they took more fuel in that one. And that's the reason why. So there's not really been a change in that battle between Back Pain and Eye Strain and Sim Racing PR. That was always the gap between them, if you get what I mean. It was just deceiving because Back Pain and Eye Strain took less fuel in their 1st and 2nd stops.
Now, Sam, while you were bringing us up to date with that one, as we see the dominant display that has been from Tempest Simsport, 1 minute and 8 seconds clear in LMP2. Satellite, they've taken their 8 temps, well, it was a bit more. They had got the gap down to around about 9.1 to maybe even dipping into the high 8.9s initially. But as it padded out to 9.5 seconds, even so, they're still on course of net gains against RD Simsport. Oh, Sam. Oh, Sam.
This is so close, Tim. I'm turning on the sector times. I haven't had the sector times on so far.
No.
But,
Normally you don't need them in endurance racing.
No, I mean, we've got 5 sectors here, and I want to see exactly what's going on with these two every step of the way, because of course it makes a difference. You're not going to go fast in every single sector because you're probably going to get held up in traffic for one of them. And so, yeah, let's see. It's down under 9 seconds now, the gap between the top two. This would be an amazing win for Satellite Racing because it wasn't a good start for them. Remember, they were in 4th position, 20 seconds off the lead with an hour to go, and even 10 seconds off 3rd place. And yet, just this fantastic pace from Alex Ellis, not put a foot wrong all the way. And they are my favourites to win this race now. 7/10 of a second faster on that previous lap time. On this lap time, 10th faster through Sector 1, 4/10 faster through Sector 2, 4/10 faster through Sector 3, a 10th faster through Sector 4. So we'll see what they can deliver in this 5th sector. It's going to be over a second, I think, on this lap, again.
He's caught a couple of GT3s, but that's good. Just dipping in and out of this slipstream. He is pushing it with absolutely everything that he has got as the Canadian. We have got 12 minutes remaining. 8.2 seconds is the gap. What can he take out of this lap?
Look at that, 31.7. That's only 2/10 off the fastest.
Sam, something's happened. RDF just lost like nearly a second in the space of the breaking point for Satellite into turn 1, so coming up to the Rodriguez International Horseshoe.
Is that a GT3 maybe they've just had to pass?
Oh, well, they're catching even more of them here, Sam.
There was a P2. They must have struggled past.
Oh, and this is... Oh, Sam, those tyres are hurting them now. Look at that wiggle. Wow. 5.6 seconds is the gap, Sam. 5.5 seconds. That's going to be 5.4. There it is. It's going to be 5.3 any moment now.
Interesting news from Justin Hess. Thanks, Justin. Apparently, Penguin RC, the LMP1, which looked like they were going to... LMDH, apologies, which looked like they were going to win this race. Apparently, they didn't put the speed limiter on. So they were fine on entry, but then I think they were trying to run it the extra, like, mile an hour or two. But they took too much, and rather than gaining half a second, they lost 40 seconds, and that is why they are 43 seconds off this race lead right now.
I mean, we were building up for a three-way finish for the lead, the overall win. We're now down to what is going to be a two-way fight as a new personal best there from Alex Ellis. That's an indication of just how hard that he is pushing right now for Satellite Racing. 4.5 seconds is the gap. That is all it is right now. As that is static adrenaline. That's turn 7, I believe, there, Sam.
That's impressive that they're still in the race, because I think we've seen them need some repairs a few times, but they are still going out there. So yeah, good effort from those guys to be so competitive. I will just point out as well, all the LMP2 cars are still running competitively. I mean, the gap between first, Tempest Simsport, and 7th, the organisation Pro-Am, which didn't even take the start if I recall correctly, only 3.5 laps. Really impressive. Just how, yeah, the attrition rate in the LMP2 category.
So they did take the start. It was the organisation. It's a bit of a lovely English there. They didn't take the start and obviously didn't get going. Still, only the one retirement, which is the SMS Racing BMW and GT3. Who lost them on lap 45. The lead GT3 is coming on lap 95, so about hour and a half mark. We lost them hour and 15. However, our gap has maintained a little bit right now up at the top between Coveney and Ellis.
7/10, Tim. I wouldn't say that's maintaining, but it's sort of
it's balancing a little bit more.
It's the minimum that they need, isn't it?
But as late great Murray Walker said, Sam, catching people is one thing, but passing them is something different altogether.
I mean, this is lining up to be a classic Daytona finish, isn't it? Runs
It is.
the line last
Now,
lap.
this is the issue. What I think that Satellite have probably got a similar setup to Penguin. I'm guessing, based on the lap times that are happening. That is Tupac Racing from GT3 coming in for their splash and dash with 8 minutes 30 left on the clock.
This will be really interesting. Are they going to be ahead of Sim Racing PR? Because they were, what, 1 second between them before. I think Tupac may have saved enough fuel here in order to have a short enough pit stop and get past Sim Racing PR, but it could be close. But I'm seeing they're already trending down the pit lane, so they might be a fair bit clear.
Gap at the lead, Sam. 3 seconds exactly. Now, if Satellite have got a similar setup to what Penguin had, which I would think they have, based on the amount of chunks of time that they're pulling out of RD. Yes, they can catch up onto the back of them, but I think they may struggle even on a run to the line in a last lap dash out of the bus stop. Because as we saw from Sam Adams, yes, he just couldn't match for the low drag setup that RD have employed.
No, yeah, that it is in these circumstances that decision to take that setup, it will be useful. Albeit, I mean, honestly, to be fair, when we saw RD behind Penguin, they weren't gaining themselves that much either. So I wonder if it's more of just a low toe effect in this LMDH more than anything else. I'm not entirely sure.
I think what might have been the part
sorry, Tim, we have a change for P5. Penguin RC moving past Back Pain and Ice Chain. These two have been glued to one another for a while, but I think that's the first time that Penguin RC have moved past.
That is the first time, Sam. That is the first time. One thing to factor in the lead is 1.6 seconds now, Sam. 1.6 seconds. Ellis is pushing. It's the hybrid deployment. How much battery reserve have they got left in the car? There's some big braking zones where you can recover it, but there's so much that is flat out around here, Sam. So you need to have some in reserve, which, if Coveney's clever, he's got it it's set in balance mode, which will it means it will not go lower than 50%. So you can still maintain that pace. Then maybe just, you know, through the infield section, just defends that interline if he can, puts it into build mode, just give to what he can, and then deploys the attack mode. Full chat. He can run the battery mode all the way level down to 0%. 1.2 seconds is the advantage. All that RD Simsports has now over Satellite. It's under a second. He can practically reach out and touch him right now. Can Alex Ellis? And we have got 5 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock for this grandstand finish in round one, the iRacing Team Endurance Series, powered by Sim Racing Motorsports. Well, we're on for an absolutely epic finish. Some back markers to try and toy with. The flash of the lights from Coveney once again. They're going to get held up behind Tempest, the leader in LMP2.
Very wide for RD, and we might have an opportunity as soon as the bus stop.
He's going to dip in again here, Sam. He's closing. It's under a tenth. Ellis is giving it absolutely everything he's got. They're going to come up on, well, it's the same Porsche 911 GT3 that caused issues before, and he's gone straight on, Sam, and it's undone all his hard work. He's going to get a slowdown from that, and that could be it decided.
Well, I think so. No! Oh, what's happened to RD? What's going on with Oscar Coveney? He's been distracted. Well, I was going to say it was a poor move from Alex Ellis, because that move around the outside was a hero or zoo. He was lucky not to crash, frankly. But this is what has happened to Oscar Coveney. He had the inside covered. Has he sent it in too deep himself? Yeah, too much speed. And he's done well to avoid the wall as well. No, he has hit the wall. Is that going to cost him P2 potentially? Well, it's not the way that we wanted the race to finish, but what drama at the opening round of the champion Motorsports, and he is into the pits as well. So hopefully he's got his fast repair spare. If he's got his fast repair, he should still get second.
Hold on, right, okay, so sit rep. There is Penguin, they're out onto the banking. So they are beyond, there we go, there's a...
Oh, he's fine, RD.
You think?
He's already on pit exit.
Well, this is round two of RD versus Penguin, because Penguin are going to have seen this. They're going to know. Well, there they are, entering turn one.
The RD are ahead, but not by much.
No. 1.7 seconds. Actually, made that 1.5 seconds is all the gap is, and he's out up behind an LMP2 as well to boot. Sam Adams could come back through a bit of a redemption drive here and pick up second place in the dying seconds. You go 3 hours of racing, and this is all it comes down to at Daytona.
And just incredible as well that Satellite Racing were in 4th position, and they haven't had to overtake anyone because they've all just gone off, haven't they? You had Obsidian off, you had Penguin making that long pit stop, and or breaking the speed limiter. And now RD have made a honestly, really a self-mistake there. So, I mean, it's a little bit, like, frustrating because I think South like actually had the pace to pass all of them, potentially. But instead, they've sort of been handed this one. They haven't had... I mean, to be fair to them, obviously they've put the pressure on the other cars. And I mean, that's been a leading factor. So they are absolutely responsible for this race win, but they haven't quite had the satisfaction of properly doing it on circuit. But at least we get to see this battle. And once again, remember, RD did not take tyres for a reason we have not become aware of, unless they ran out of tyres, because they are limited to 3 tyre sets. So maybe it's the tyre sets that they are limited to, that they'd already taken them all, compared to the other teams who were able to take that extra, had one spare.
The Penguin LMDH being helped out by the sister GT3 a little bit there, just helping them to close up the gap that bit more further. And the history books will show that Satellite won this at a canter, but in reality, for those of you who've sat here and watched it with us at Apex Racing TV, will know that is definitely not the case whatsoever. 8 attempts, but we've seen this before, Sam. And hold on, I'm just looking at the timer here, Sam. Where is our leader? Yes, they're going to take the white flag when they cross the line. The line. There it is.
They? Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Very close though, wasn't it? Christ. I mean, they might even finish the race before the 3 hours are up. It was that close.
So, here's Adams. No, he's lost a lot of time in traffic somewhere, Sam. Look, it's 1.4 seconds. And he needed to make... Well, he needs to give it absolutely everything. The kitchen sink. Leave nothing on the table whatsoever. This needs the lap of Sam Adams' life to close this one up. He needs to get it done before he gets out onto the oval, out of 7, but I think it's just going to be that bit too far back. He's got 2 GT3s and a LMP2 in between him as he's coming down into turn 1. This is not going to be good for him whatsoever with his aspirations to close up. And I don't think he's going to do it, Sam. I just do not think he's going to do it.
No, yeah, he's going to need a favour. And 1.7 seconds, and yeah. Oh, that's a big slide though for RD. Really struggling towards these closing stages. So Silvera's going to get pretty much an extra lap compared to all the other LMP2s. So, I mean, arguably, he is coming up to win this race because none of the other LMP2 cars are going to be able to do that last lap. And is Conchalves going to be in the same boat? No. Oh well, here comes the race leader though. Satellite Racing from 4th with an hour to go to the race victory. Alex Ellis with a storming drive to take the 67 to the top stop of the podium. Gabriel Conchalves will win for RT Simsport number 4. And Philip Silvera, all of our Class D's across the line in unison pretty much. Tempest Simsport, a dominant race victory. It never looked in doubt.
They didn't do it for Tempest. They've just completely and utterly controlled, dominated and bossed LMP2 here at round 1 at Daytona. And Penguin, they've fallen well back. It's gone 2nd place for them. Adams, it was looking tough and unlikely, and RD in the end hold on for 2nd place. So may argue that they probably would have been where they would have finished if Obsidian and then Penguin hadn't fallen off the road. Ooh, Sam, what a way to open the championship.
Yeah.
What a way.
Absolutely enthralling battle. And yeah, so interesting towards the end there with the tyres. And I do apologise for not identifying the as Ramirez. Well, unfortunately he's crossed the line. Some nice lanes there from Ellis. But yeah, I do apologise as he's playing the engine as well. We'll be using that one for the next round. Yeah, we didn't identify the tyre limitations, and that's of course why RD did not take tyres at that last pit stop. But that made such a difference, I think, because whilst Satellite were faster, whilst Alex S was definitely faster than Oscar Coveney, the way that he caught in those last 20 minutes from 10 seconds, he pretty much gained 10 seconds in a quarter of an hour. Was absolutely remarkable, and so that's going to be a factor that we're going to see for the entirety of the rest of the season, where the drivers are going to have to factor that into their driving, and we're going to see that ebb and flow even more than what we usually see in team racing.
I mean, maybe it was a little bit of part of that. The thinking here, Sam, was, you know, Daytona in terms of tyre degradation, it's not too bad compared to some of the tracks we're going to visit later in the season, such as Spa, certainly Motegi. So maybe that was part of their thinking, just trying to think around it here, Sam. But like you say, it's definitely tyre management is going to play a much larger part, and some lessons definitely learnt here from round 1 of the championship of how they're going to manage things. But let's take you through your classified race results from round 1 of the iRacing Team Endurance Series, powered by Champion Motorsports. Satellite Racing take the victory in LMDH with RD Sinsport second and Penguin rounding out your podium. Then Obsidian and CMS last 2 cars finish on the lead lap in 4th and 5th respectively, with Pneumatic, V2 Fast Racing and Sim HQ Motorsports 1 lap down. 2 laps down were RD Simsport 2 and 2Pi Racing. Into LMP2, 11th overall, and your winner, well, they won it at an absolute canter. It was never in doubt from the early stages, was it? It was Tempest Simsport with 104 in second, and Longhorn in the end, grabbing that last place on the podium by being a lap down on the leader in LMP2. Sim HQ, Blue Shell, they had an eventful race, and Sim Republic will finish 1 lap down on the leader in LMP2, with the organisation Pro-Am 17th. And last in class. Static Adrenaline, well, they were in the walls a lot today, kept the car running, finished all the way down in 18th overall to the LMP2 outfit. Into GT3, RD Simsport 4, they won their class in BMW with Audi's Tempest Motorsports and the Lamborghini of 2Pi Racing. 3 different manufacturers on the podium here at Daytona. That is great to see in GT3. Sim Racing PR and BPES, as we've renamed them, Backpain and iStrain Racing Team. Penguin 24th, then it was Imperial, Dogbear Black, Team Breakfade, Can-Am Racing, marginally above average sim racers, or mass as we've renamed them, Valhalla, CMSRacing.com Ghost, I wouldn't get that one right by the end of the season, Flying Lion, Longhorn, Wild Juice, who were well down on the leaders in the end. 2 Bros caught in lots of incidents. SMS Racing, the only retirement that we had all day, they finished 36th overall. And then the organisation from LMDH and Sim Republic SR2 in the Audi in GT3 did not take the start. The only 2 cars to do so. But Sam, I've just glanced across the Discord. I can see a plethora of drivers all sat there waiting to speak to us. Who should we speak to first? I think it's surely got to be our race winner.
I think it has got to be, and I'm going to be very selfish here and jack him up myself. Because Alex Ellis joins us in the commentary box now. Alex, what a drive from yourself. We had our eyes absolutely glued to it from start to finish. Yeah, take us through the start initially for your team. You had, of course, Jesse Lyon, who you were racing with. How did Jesse's stint go? Because it seemed like it was an incredibly competitive first hour to the race.
Yeah, it was wild for that first hour. There was lots of ups and downs. Luckily, Jesse was really good with damage limitation, so we found ourselves in quite a few let's say bad scenarios, but he did a good job of navigating his way through to keep the car clean and hand it over to me nice and clean. So really it was about survival for that first hour and 20 minutes. And then when I got in the car, I think we were 35 seconds back. So I knew I had a very tall order, and it's funny, this is actually the first race I've ever done in this car. And I think I had about an hour total time driving it ever before the race start. So I was really trying to figure things out and be nice and smooth and minimize off track for the first little bit. And as the first stint went on, I really started squeezing some more performance out of the car. Found a few more tenths, and we did it.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredibly impressive that you were ever so quick in the car, considering that lack of practice, because we could see really with about an hour and a half to go that you were on your way, that you were catching, you were the fastest driver out on circuit. And we knew with the other drivers, other teams having to take a driver swap and potentially putting their number 2 driver in, that you were just going to catch more and more. When what was your attitude when you saw the incident start to happen ahead? I mean, how aware were you of what was happening with the top three? Were you being told by your teammate in your ear, or were you sort of oblivious to that?
No, so Jesse and I were talking constantly, because it affected things like my final pit stop, for example, how much I was going to push on pit in to brake super late and even risk potentially getting a speeding in the pits penalty from just getting every little bit on pit in. So I knew I had to keep pushing. I knew they were battling, and I was just basically hoping and praying that they would keep battling. And then it was literally an hour and 40 minutes of quali lap after quali lap. So I was trying to be really, really disciplined with my brake points, because I knew that on outright pace I was similar to the guys I was racing, but I knew I had a big advantage in traffic. I tended to be able to keep my momentum up a little bit better, so I was focusing on being super clean with my laps, no mistakes, and then being as clean, quick, and efficient through traffic as possible. And I had a few pretty tight squeezes with traffic, so sorry if I wronged anyone a little bit there, but no, I think everything stayed clean. No car contact at all throughout the race, so it seemed like a good event.
Yeah, certainly looks all good from where we were sitting, and Jesse Lyon has joined us as well. Jesse, take us through the strategy that you guys had, because you had a slightly unusual element to consider, which was the tyre sets, which were limited. You guys were able to take a new set of tyres at your last stint. Was that something, or was that something that you planned before the race, and do you think that was the right strategy to go for?
I didn't know we could take tires and not lose time from it until Alex told me that we could. So we kind of just agreed that if we needed tires, we could probably take all four. And then since we were about half fuel by the last stint, or we needed half a tank, a little over half a tank, we just took the rears because they get beat up the most in this car. So we took the rears for Alex at the end, and there was no point in trying to save tires at all, so we just kept pushing through the whole time.
Well, it seemed to work fantastically for you guys. Before we say goodbye to you both, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
As always, Satellite Racing, LS Engineering, and then obviously Jesse was a great teammate to share the car with today. So just thanks all around, and also thanks to you guys for putting on a great broadcast. That's a tough one, eh?
You've driven very well. We do the commentating, you do the driving.
No more talking for me. I'm gonna go sleep now.
Well, you both have really earned it. Congratulations on a great start to your season.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Alex Ellis and Jesse Lyon, they're your race winners in the LMDH category for Satellite Racing. Tim, who are you dragging up next?
Well, I have managed to get hold of our race victor in GT3 and now joined by Steve Mello. Steve, wow, it was really, really close, certainly for the opening few stints in GT3. Then, of course, you have to deal with the traffic coming through. Just talk us through certainly that opening stint and what it was like being in the car and how you managed it and what your tactics were.
I knew that on the first stint it will be close with Paulo from Tempos, so I was trying to manage and fuel saving mostly on the first stint, because I was pretty sure that I wasn't able to have a gap from him because of the draft. I took the chance of a small mistake over the traffic, I think. And it gave me a little advantage from Paulo, which I took advantage and tried to gain a little gap for my teammate after, to be more safe on his last stint.
Definitely, and then obviously Gabriel gets in the car. You've got a nice advantage there once you've broken that gap. And from that point onwards, was it just about management keeping out of trouble, or were you still pushing the car?
No, definitely managing. I told Gabriel that we had a a nice advantage. So just trying to be smooth. We knew that we were going to do some extra laps with the same tires, so I told him to go smoothly and everything will be okay. And yeah, I mean, all went good on this race. I'm happy. I'm happy.
All went according to plan. That's what we like to hear. Just looking ahead to the season, is there any tracks that you're particularly, well, ones that you're looking forward to driving, and of ones that you're maybe a little bit worried or not so much looking forward to?
I mean, I was looking forward for this one because I really like Daytona. The other ones, I'm pretty average. I mean, anything can happen. Like I just like to do it step by step and trying to focus on the next race and practice the much I can with my teammates. So that's what we did in Daytona. It went pretty well. So hoping for the next one, definitely.
Definitely more of the same next time. Well, congratulations, Steve Mellon, RD SimSport 4 took the victory in GT3. Sam, who's up next?
I am going to bring up Justin Lamelli and also Nicholas Maynard because they were our runners-up in the LMP2 category this evening. Congratulations guys on that very strong result for you two. First up, Nicholas, take us through that race start because it wasn't ideal for you guys. You had a bit of a setback, but were able to recover it in the end.
Yeah, that was obviously unplanned. Definitely didn't expect that. I just missed my braking marker, put it in the wall. Steering was pretty bent, and after that we were like, well, let's limp it back to the pits, see what we can do. There was plenty of time left, and we were very fortunate enough to charge hard and make it back to where we started.
How was it dealing with the traffic this evening? Was it similar to maybe Daytona 24 hours, or were there any differences in comparison to that event?
Well, for us it was completely different. This is actually our second week of driving the LMP2 car, maybe. We were primarily GT3s before. That's what we did the Daytona 24 in, so it was a big change being in one of the faster cars this round.
Yeah, absolutely. And Justin, of course, you were in the race, in the car for the second half of the race. Must have been quite fun for you because, you know, you just had cars to catch up ahead of you, and I guess was it just a case of pushing at 100% for every single lap?
Well, we had such a big lead to third place. My goal was just to bring it home. I wasn't trying to make any unnecessary risks, so just had to bring it home in one piece because my teammate was killing it. So he did a great job. My goal is to bring it home.
Absolutely. Well, that you certainly managed to achieve that. Well, next up we head to Fuji. Have you ever done any endurance events around that circuit? Because it's only recently that it's been added to the service.
I have never driven that track, so that'll be
okay.
It'll be interesting. I'm really excited for it, though. I love learning new tracks, and we got plenty of time to learn it, so I'm excited for that.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, guys, on that fantastic comeback. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to... No, hang on. I'll give a shout out to Nick because he killed it. I had like a 40-second lead to third place, so I was just cruising.
Yeah, right back at him. Him and I thank my teammate here, and just everybody go follow us out on Instagram at 100Force. We're going to be doing a lot of cool things coming up here soon.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, guys, on that fantastic result, and best of luck that you can keep it up for the next 5 rounds.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Justin Lamelli and Nicholas Maynard there, your second place finishers for 100Force Racing in the LMP2 category. Tim, who are next?
Well, I think it'd be rude not to speak to them. Chatting to the guys from LMDH, RD SimSport, both Oscar and Archie Coveney. Well, what a race it was for you guys. You kept us on the edge of our seats from green flag all the way through to the checkered. I bet that both of you must be mentally exhausted after that one.
Yeah, honestly, it was such a tense race and really close for the win. Sucks that we just missed out, but I had a lot of fun with my brother, and yeah, still really good, solid start to the season.
I mean, in those opening stages, Archie, you were playing it, well, at least it appeared from the commentary anyway, incredibly aggressive in terms of the strategy and, you know, the moves that you were pulling. Obviously, being an endurance race, was that, you know, it's one of those weird ones where at 3 hours, it's an endurance race, but it's still almost on, it's on the shorter end of the scale. Was that your tactic from the off, or was it just where you sort of found yourself and you sort of had to adapt on your feet a bit to become more aggressive in these early stages?
I mean, I think with you know, 3 hours is pretty short as endurances go. So I was trying to. My plan was to try and get to the front and through the first couple of waves of GT and LMP2 traffic, just try and break away, which I did manage to do for a small amount of time, and then they sort of reeled me back in. And yeah, I try and be a bit more conservative, but I just went quite aggressive this time, and it was tense, but like I'm glad I did, because I think it definitely helped later in the race.
And sort of taking it sort of later in the race, we spotted that you seem to go for a much lower drag setup compared to, well, certainly against Penguin, who were much quicker in the infield, Satellite aware as well. I know that strat does play out a bit where, you know, if you can hold on to it in the midfield, you know that you can hold, you know, with that lower downforce, you can hold on to it going out onto the oval section. Just sort of those last few stages where you sort of lost, then regained, lost it. Were you too bothered when you dropped down to second, or was it more of a, you know, was it a bit more of a worry for yourself and you desperately wanted the win?
Yeah, I think for me, when I was in the car late stint and I did lose the lead, it was pretty flustering. I think as well, coming on to a much colder track, which I hadn't prepared myself in, it was all it felt really alien. So yeah, it was really tough adapting to that. But I mean, I did manage to recover to an extent, but I always lacked that bit of consistency that meant that we did get caught up quite a bit, and it made the rest of the race really difficult for us. But yeah, it was close in the end, but I think due to that stuff, it did cost us in the end.
And another part is that decision not to take tyres on the last stop. We sort of worked out you probably could, you know, you could have taken them without any reduction in time penalty. Was that one?
The limited tyre sets. I was
Yes.
going to apologise for this. If you watch back the commentary, I'm going to be really annoying when I'm saying, why are they not taking tyres? Why are they not taking tyres? Crofty-esque. And it's obviously the fact that you were limited on tyres. So I apologise for that if you listen back to the stream and I'm rambling on about that.
Yeah, that was sort of on me really, because I was thinking we were having a splash and dash about half tank for the final stop, and I wasn't 100% sure if like it would cost us more time to take tyres, because obviously as the track got cooler, the tyre wear got a bit better. But Oscar struggled quite a bit on his first stint, so it took quite a bit of life out of the tyres. So in hindsight, I should have checked the tyres and changed them, but I didn't. So I think that was a mistake on my end, which obviously made it a lot more difficult for Oscar.
Well, either way, thank you for absolutely entertaining us. It was a fascinating battle. I know it didn't quite work out in the way you wanted it to in the end, but well, we'll look forward to seeing you in about a month's time at Fuji.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
That's Oscar and Archie Coveney of RD Simsport. We walked away second overall and obviously in LMDH. Sam, should we grab Sam Adams in for the last one?
Yes.
Have we got? Yeah, we've got just enough time, haven't we, to squeeze him in?
Oh, sure. We've always got time. Sam Adams joins us now. Congratulations, Sam. It's a podium for yourself. However, despite that, you must still be a fair bit frustrated because, well, with half an hour to go, it looked like it was going to your way. It looked like you were going to be standing on the top step of the podium.
Yeah, you know, I thought the pace was really good. You know, Blake ran a pretty solid first stint, put me in good position to get up to the front there, and I was able to just kind of push as hard as I could. Pretty much quality laps from the time I got into the end there. I just made too many mistakes. It was real hard to pass Oscar there with about 30 to go. That's why I kind of had to send it up the inside of the second horseshoe. But yeah, just got held up then by a GT3. I just kind of caught him at a bad spot, and then just kind of had to try to do the same move, and he covered it off better than I thought he was gonna. And I just caught a little bit of wheel hop and got sideways there.
Yeah, and then I think there was a speeding penalty as well near the end of the race. Just take us through exactly what happened there.
Yeah, so I actually so on my in lap I got a little bit of understeer in the bus stop, and I pushed wide. I got a slowdown, and I thought I could serve it while I was entering the pits, and I just didn't quite get it all served. I still had a couple tenths left, so I had a 40-second hold. So that kind of took me out, and then the two leaders got together, and I thought I might be able to get second. But yeah, I mean, all in all, P3 podium to start off the season was pretty solid.
Yeah, definitely. That's certainly a lot to build on for the rest of the season. And also just a word as well on that battle that you are having in order to try to get past the RD SimSport car. Was that you were mentioning it was tricky to overtake? Was that because maybe you were running a little bit more drag, or is that just a characteristic of this LMDH car that it's just tricky in wheel-to-wheel combat?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Penguin RC guys, you know, they built a pretty quick set, but we definitely had a lot more downforce, I felt, than the other guys there. So I couldn't get quite as big of a run down the straightaway as I'd like, and the draft isn't quite as good in the LMDH. It's a little bit harder to get runs. You know, when you pull out a line, you really get stalled out quite a bit. And then, you know, on top of that, Oscar was doing a really good job defending. That's why I knew I kind of had to catch him off guard if I wanted to get around him. I felt like my pace was good enough that once I got around him, I could kind of break the draft, which I did. And then unfortunately, I kind of missed time to get in a run out of the bus stop on a Lamborghini, I think it was, and he was able to overtake me again. But yeah, I mean, the LMDH, you know, overall, I think hand-to-hand combat, you know, it races pretty good. Just Oscar was doing a real good job at protecting the inside for sure.
And we're visiting some fairly legendary and fan favorite circuits for the rest of the season. We've got Fuji, Le Mans, Motegi, Spa, and Watkins. Which one of them are you most looking forward to?
Probably looking forward to Spa the most. Fuji as well. I don't have a ton of experience racing at Fuji, so I'm looking forward to, you know, getting out there and learning that track. But I think Spa, you know, it always seems to put on a good race no matter what car you're in, really. So I'm looking probably most forward to that.
Awesome. Well, we wish you the best of luck for that one, Sam. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just all the guys, you know, Brian back at Penguin RC for getting me on the team this year. We're running, you know, this endurance series as well as the Porsche Cup series. And then, you know, Blake for having me be his teammate. You know, Blake's pretty quick, and I think we should be a pretty strong duo for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm sure that's certainly going to be the case. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Sam, and yeah, best of luck for you to repeat this result or even go better next time out.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Sam Adams there, finishing in P3 in the LMDH category for Penguin RC Simulation LMDH. Tim, everyone that wants to have a chat with us has had a chat with us, it seems, and so yeah, there's only really left to look ahead to the next round, and it's Fuji that we have, and the first race that I would have broadcast at Fuji, which is longer than half an hour long.
Yes, same here. I said stop and think there, Sam, and that was obviously with yourself, wasn't it? And the F3 was it F3?
Well,
no,
I'm thinking of GT3 Trophy.
Yes,
that I broadcasted, and I think you were commentating on it.
Yes.
That was a good race as well. I remember that probably being the best race of the season. So it's such, like, that straight is so long that it really creates unique racing where, I mean, you can slipstream past someone and then they can slipstream back past you. I mean, it's that long for that.
And of course, we covered the 2023 Pro Sim Racing Sprint Championship Series, where we had obviously the pro drivers, Apex Racing TV. That was, you know, a very chalk and cheese in terms of race formats, but lots of, you know, even the pro show that we could have some absolutely epic wheel-to-wheel racing there in the GT3. So I think it could be a little bit of a special race, that one. And to be fair, Sam, if it's even half as good as what we've had today, it's going to be an absolute barnstormer of a race.
Yeah, the LMDHs look particularly competitive. I'm honestly expecting the LMDHs to be just as competitive. next time out. Although it was pretty dangerous, what AlexES was saying, how he only had an hour of practice going into this race, and yet he's still the fastest driver out on circuit. So maybe if he can improve even more, it might be ominous. But in qualifying, it really demonstrated that there were 6, 7, 8 teams who were even pace and going for pole position, which is something completely unique. In the LMP2s, I mean, it looks like it's going to be tricky for Tempest SimSport to be knocked off their perch, but to be fair, 100 Force with the setback that they had, for them to come back as strong as they did, maybe they could be a rival if they can gain a bit more time. And then in the GT3s, RD SimSport and once again Tempest were looking fairly even for that first hour, but again RD will be very tricky to catch. So yeah, I think particularly the MDH is going to be the most competitive, but only takes an inspired drive for one of the other classes, and we could see another lead battle as well.
I mean, realistically, it was only Tempest in LMP2 that just didn't put a foot wrong all day. They were just relentless, as you said. Oliveira kicked things off and just, well, they set the tone for Silveira to just carry things on for the Portuguese squad. And, well, that definitely, it's going to take a lot to beat them. But she said, not forgetting, you know, 100 Force down and out at the start of the race and just hauled themselves back, dragged themselves back up for the order, kicking and screaming to get that 171 machine into second in class. So, yeah, don't discredit them. If they didn't have had that, where would they have finished against Tempest? That's the big question. I mean, GT3, that's going to look really competitive, but for me, it's that LMDH, Satellite, RD, Penguin, Obsidian, they were all there, and it could have been any one of them if it hadn't been mistakes from all of them at different points in the race. It's fascinating to see, and well, it's unfortunate. The only bad part of this championship, Sam, is we've got to wait until the end of April now to have round 2.
Is that eight weeks? I think that we're going to have to.
Yeah, it's a good 7. It's at least a good 7, isn't it? So yeah, that's the only sad part really of this. Well, it's been a fantastic opening round for the guys at Championship Motorsport.
Yeah, and yeah, it really is testament to Champion Motorsports, the quality that they have put on. I wish I could say exactly how to get involved in Champion Motorsports, but I think if you look up their social media, and I think they've got a website as well, yeah, get involved, because they are hosting these events on iRacing as well as several other platforms, and yeah, really great community to get involved in if you want to improve your sim racing experience.
Well, I think on that note, I think it's time to end the proceedings. No one else has popped in to have a chat with us, so wow, what a race it's been. I know I'm definitely off for a lie down. I'm sure Sam is, and our producer John Robertson as
He's been
well.
lying down probably for this entire time.
Oh, I bet he has, yeah. He only has to click a few buttons. He doesn't have to dig through the archives and find out all the incidents that have been happening out on track. But, well, congratulations to Satellite on their victory overall. Tempest, we said, didn't put a foot wrong. And RD SimSport 4 in GT3. Great to see 3 different manufacturers on the podium in GT3 as well. The drama up front, though, how can you beat that? And after 3 hours of racing, it came down to the final minutes. It's why we come racing. It's why we love sim racing. It's what exactly is it all about. But well, from the staff Simcox, Sam Fitzpatrick and John Robson, thanks very much for joining us here at Apex Racing TV for round 1 of the Championship Motorsport iRacing Team Endurance Series from Daytona. And we'll see you in about a month's time from the land of the rising sun for round 2 from Fuji. Good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.